equity loan.
Or visit AdirondackBank.com.
Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. And soon, you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too.
The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited-time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, good morning, and a little wet, although it's going to be a pretty decent day. And as Clint, our meteorologist, had to say yesterday, things are going to begin to warm up a little bit.
Yes, they are. 47 today and low 50s, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah. Did I mess his name up?
Yeah,
I
it's
did.
Craig Flint.
Craig
Call
Flint.
him Clint.
What I try to do is mix it onto one name.
Oh,
Clint.
that was good.
That's what we'll call him from now on. Although you look next week, it's for the most part next week we're up into the 50s, low to mid 50s.
I was afraid of what you were going to say there.
Even a 60-degree day is not far off. So
yes,
we're making the April transition here. We're also getting ready for Major League Baseball this week. Everybody opens up on Thursday, and well, that's pretty exciting. I'm happy to see that happening, and we'll see. Preseason means so little, but means so much. Will the Mets and Yankees be big contenders this year? Well, they should be. Both of them should be.
Right. That darn exhibition, man. Oh, boy. We lose our closer for the whole year.
Just crazy. All right, let's. Last night, also the women's NCAA tournament underway, and it turns out there's a local player from New Hartford who was playing for Ohio State Now, not getting a ton of playing time. She is a freshman, but this is a pretty cool story, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Kaya Henderson, and as you mentioned, she is a freshman. I think, and you wrote about this yesterday. Did you say she left early from Ohio
She
State?
left from New Hartford. She left. She graduated in January of last year because she wanted to go to create some chemistry with her teammates, and that she did. And she's on this team, which made it to the Elite Eight, which is a pretty good accomplishment. Pretty big accomplishment right there for them. And I got to say, I watched a little bit of that game last night. When you get to that level of women's college basketball and the WNBA, and I mean, that's pretty fast paced. It's pretty good basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really good. They were hitting the 3-point shots like crazy to start that game last night. Nobody could miss.
Unfortunately, Ohio State was knocked out by the top seed in their region, Virginia Tech. 84-74 was the final.
Let's see. We have a ton to.
I'm sorry. One more thing. I'm just noticing this, and I didn't realize. In women's college hoops, they play 4 quarters, which I found
like the
interesting.
NBA.
Yeah, and like the WNBA, where in the men they just play the 2 halves. So I don't know.
Okay, let's tell you this morning we're going to get an update on Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and actually a bit of a shocking update, I think. We'll talk about that coming up. The Trump grand jury meeting again yesterday. Security has been increased because the rhetoric has been amped up. It's funny because yesterday President Trump said he was on Hannity last night, and he said when he said, if I'm arrested, there's going to be violence, and what did he call it? There's going to be violence and mayhem, whatever the comment was. But last night he said violence and destruction, I think is what is the term that he used. But last night on Hannity, he said, I didn't say that to call for violence and destruction. I'm fearing that there'll be violence or destruction. And to me, that is such a juvenile argument. I mean, you at least live up to what you're doing. Imagine this. You're stopped on the thruway. It's a New York State trooper coming up to your door. And you yell out, if I get a ticket, there's going to be violence or destruction. What do you think's going to happen? Well, the cop's going to pull his gun on you at that point. I mean, you're making I was worried there might be. The fact that you were coming to my car, I was worried there might be violence and destruction. Come on. I mean, you just can't. And by the way, January 6th is built on that entire theory. Are we to assume that President Trump is not smart enough to understand that words have some meaning and cause some people to act? Of course he knows. It just is a ridiculous argument saying I didn't mean that. It's ridiculous.
What he said 4 days ago was death and destruction, potential death and destruction.
And beyond that, he started out with a pro video as if it was pro-America, what happened on January 6th. And, luckily many Republican, mainly in the Senate, have come out against those comments and against the introduction to his rally. I mean, the one thing we don't want, right, is violence in the streets all over again.
Correct.
Is that what we're going to end up with here? Because there seems to be a lot of talk about it and a lot of worry about it. Why would we even go there?
I will say this. One difference from January 6th is it seems like they're beefing up security for the potential that something
that
might
is true.
happen.
And I also think there are people that I do think there are a number of people who have backed away, knowing that the end result is probably not all that good. I don't know. All I know is this could be an interesting week, and I'm not saying he should be indicted or shouldn't be indicted. All I'm saying is, if it does happen, you follow. We have a system in place, and ultimately it's going nowhere. Which makes me wonder why it's even happening. This case in particular, why it's even happening. But that is what it is.
Yeah, and look, I also think, Trump has been throughout his career done an exceptional job, right, of promoting himself and everything.
He's probably Well, there's nobody any better at it, right?
So I almost so who am I to question strategy, right? But
well, you take a look at the latest midterms. Everything since 2016 has not been. He's not won since 2016.
I guess I could say I was.
That's a place to look.
I thought that wasn't going to go well, and it didn't go that well. But doesn't he have a more sympathetic argument when he says, "Look, I'm a political victim here," versus, "Hey, let's rally things up and let's go wild here," because then it becomes then they become the aggressors again.
Without getting into the whole Trump conversation, all I can tell you is he had such an ability to probably be one of the greatest presidents ever. And for all Americans, not just a 30% of them or 35%, whatever the number is, he had that opportunity and still has that opportunity if he would just stop short of death and destruction, stop short of the craziness. How many people have said, listen, I love his policies. I just wish he'd keep his mouth shut. Because if he'd keep his mouth shut, he could win. If he would be less abrasive and I just don't understand. It seems to be such a simple answer, but it doesn't seem to be for him, and I don't get that. And what he could accomplish if he would step away from the stuff that divides the country. I mean, there's no way Joe Biden would have won. He wouldn't have won. He couldn't have won. In fact, I still wonder if he won. No, don't get me wrong. He won, but it's not. There were more votes against Trump for him than there were for Biden. I mean, and that's the stuff that Trump can't seem to stay away from. And this is a great example. When the New York Post has to write an editorial that states Trump is not fit to be president, and it's comments like these that is the proof and the reason. I mean, that's a conservative newspaper that normally falls on his side, certainly when it comes to policy. Why do we have to go there? It seems like such a simple recipe to win, and he just can't seem to use all the ingredients.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I completely agree, and I thought it was extremely telling, and hopefully it's a sign of the times. And it's funny, I mentioned the Times when we're talking about the New York Post, that I wonder if the majority of Republicans feel the same way, that he's irresponsible.
You've set up the interview we're going to have at 7:40 this morning with Siena. Steve Greenberg and the Siena poll will have the results this morning. We'll talk about some of those results. Would surprise you, I guess.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I've noticed is, and I think they actually asked Ron DeSantis about this the other day, that basically they're saying the left is positioning Ron DeSantis as almost like I think the analogy they gave was Trump was Coca-Cola and DeSantis is Diet Coke. And I think it's so much more complex than that. And if you think Trump is as bad in everything that he says and does, I haven't seen any of that, right? None of the white supremacy thing, right? None of the there's just none of the violence out of DeSantis,
yeah.
right? So
well,
just because of the fact that
is,
he's the next Republican, they say, oh, he's almost just as terrible as Trump.
Right.
And are we going to get this every time a Republican candidate comes forward?
Well, but you have to understand, DeSantis is taking on he's taking on the quote woke situation. He's taking on the school, the education. He's taking on homosexuality. All of these issues that seem to be something the Republican Party would rather not be in the middle of right now, because it's something that not just Republicans and Democrats, but Americans, for the most part, support equality at this point. And I get it. Should we be teaching sex education to kindergartners? I don't think so, and I don't know that any schools that are doing it. But he's opened that, which I think has Democrats all up in arms and worried about DeSantis. You don't see it out of Mike Pence, and he's probably far more conservative than DeSantis, and you don't see it out of Nikki Haley. So it's very interesting to see DeSantis, if he becomes the candidate, which they're saying he's probably not going to announce until maybe June, if he announces. If he becomes the candidate, he's going to have to, that is, he wins the primary and becomes the candidate, he's going to have to come back to the center in order to become president. It'll be interesting to see how he does that in Florida and around the country, because it's not just Florida anymore. Wegmans. This is an unbelievable story. Be careful when you use your credit card at the grocery store. A person had used a grocery store. This is this is a Brooklyn man, but out of Rochester. He is admitted to defrauding dozens of customers at that grocery store by stealing their account information. And if you're going to steal somebody's account information, don't be piggish. If you go and get $100 worth of stuff, they're probably not going to catch it. There's a good chance they won't see it. Or at least for a little while, they won't see it. But if you spend $9,200 at Wegmans, that's going to catch somebody's attention. The guy spent $9,200 worth of food, according to federal prosecutors. Maurice Sheftal pleaded guilty to fraud and related activity in connection with computers. According to the U.S. District Judge there, he sentenced Sheftal to serve 3 years probation and pay. He only gets probation for this.
It's outrageous,
right? But he's got to pay $41,441 in restitution.
Who's he going to steal that money from?
I wonder if he has the money to pay that. Right? They say he intentionally defrauded Wegmans and about 50 customers between January 2021, and July of 2021. He placed roughly 25 fraudulent orders totaling $9,297. He was not only buying groceries for himself, but he was buying it for friends and family.
Oh, what a nice guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So he has agreed to pay about $41,000, and even a higher amount than that, $9,297 reimbursing customers, $1,000 worth of employee time to respond to the offense, $150 to purchase credit monitoring, $16,000 to buy dark web monitoring for the people who were violated, and $15,000 in legal fees for Wegmans. That's what he has agreed to pay in order to stay out of jail. Now, if he doesn't pay it, there might be a chance that they would put him in jail. I don't know.
Here's my question.
Today, I really wonder.
You have some doubt whether or not this person has the money, right? I mean, if you're stealing from somebody else.
Right, I don't know. I don't know if he has the money.
For instance, let's say you were a victim. If he doesn't pay, so there's an element of credit monitoring, and there's all this dark web monitoring to make sure that your identity is secure. Well, if he doesn't have the money, does that mean that you're not getting that service? You're not getting the credit monitoring, right? Until he pays?
You wouldn't. He'll have to pay for it.
It's not like the government pays it, right? And he
pays
it back?
It's almost like what a company would do if they're when a company has a data breach. They'll reach out to their customers and say, all right, we're going to get you credit monitoring. We're going to get you these services for free for 1 year. And that's what he has agreed to do. Now, again, he's got to follow through on it. We don't know. We'll have to see.
And it gets probation for almost $10,000. I thought that was, doesn't that fall into the grand larceny category?
And this has nothing to do with bail reform at all, because this is a federal crime. So this is in federal court.
I'm telling you, this radio umpire
I don't know what you're thinking. You got to start stealing. Come on.
I made the wrong decision.
I thought was interesting and just a gut punch. But the economists have come out to say the difference is now a greater gap than ever. The cost between owning a home and renting an apartment. Which do you think in which way do you think you're better off?
Well, I've always thought it was owning a home, but since you're asking, don't tell me it's just a simple apartment.
They're saying the cost difference between owning a home and renting an apartment has reached its widest gap in more than 15 years, as home prices have soared and interest rates have gone up. On average, owning a home costs $1,176 more per month than renting from a professionally managed apartment complex. It's the biggest buy versus rent gap since the fall of 2006. Now, the only difference is at the end of, if you live somewhere for 20 years, you do get to sell your home. If you rent somewhere for 20 years, you have no equity built up.
Correct. I was just going to ask about that.
And if you make improvements over the years and you do them wisely and strategically, there's a chance that you'll end up making more money on the house, especially if the market takes the right turn. So I still feel that personally it is it's better to own a home. But every time we've owned a home, which has been since 1998, I believe. I don't know. It's just been one money pit after another. It's like, man, we spent a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I will say, when you talk about that equity end of it, and at the end of a certain amount of time, how much equity do you have? I remember we had a conversation about, we were renting at the time and possibly buying a house, but in the place we were at, I want to say we had been there for 9 or 10 years, and we added it up, and it was something like, and I'm rounding here, but it was like, we paid this landlord, $55,000 over that 9 years or 9.5 years, and it's like, we're never getting that back. At least if you own the home, you sell it and you get that money back that you put in it.
Well, you hope you do, right? You hope you get it back. But if you think about all that you put into it, I'm assuming I can't find anywhere in the story where it says it accounts for resale. But either way, they say if you're looking at it right now in the moment, it is cheaper to rent than it is to buy. And if you do one of those, really, we don't have any of the big managed apartment complexes around here. I guess maybe there's a few that have popped up, but nothing like you get in places like Atlanta and Denver. Like my son lives in a complex that it has a little coffee house in there. There's a bar downstairs. There's a pool. There's a group rec room. There are rooms available if you have family that come in. You can rent them out at a discounted price. I mean, it's all pretty amazing what you got. And, of course, they have some really nice weather.
But does that last forever? I guess I wonder. So
either way, usually what happens is people like my son will end up moving somewhere else and buying a home at some point.
So
probably does happen.
Mark is commenting here, and I don't want to say where he lives, but he says he's been in the same apartment complex for 29 years. Okay.
Yeah, so he probably, at the end of the day, because when his toilet goes bad or the furnace goes bad, Mark, do you have to pay for that? No.
But do you know what? I said, how much have you paid over that time? And I think he's rounding here, but I don't know if this is the exact dollar amount, but how much do you think he's paid in 29 years for rent?
I don't know. I don't know. Without knowing what
this is what he says, $191,000.
Wow.
I mean, that's a ton of money that you never get back, right?
It's true. But if you bought a $250,000,
he said, "Next up, Presswick Glen."
Well, there, of course, they have happy hour every day.
Every day.
I feel, I was watching the Presswick Glen commercial on TV the other night, and the thought came to my mind. I think I'm just going to go over there and be like, "I'm here. We have reservations for two." And I wonder if they'd let us in for dinner. Cocktails.
Yeah.
Looks like quite a fun place to be.
A buddy of mine said to meet here for a drink.
Yeah, that's right. I thought this was interesting. My wife is a huge salad eater. She loves her salads. And, you can buy the pre-cut up lettuce. You can buy the head of lettuce, however you want to do it. But the reality is you got to try to maintain that lettuce is going to stay good. There's nothing worse than spending all that money on, right, Davey? And then all of a sudden it turns black and disgusting.
I eat a salad every night.
You do?
Oh,
it's
good for you, bud.
It's healthy, man. They say this is what the experts are saying. The best way for you to store your lettuce, this shocks me, is in aluminum foil.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've never thought of that before. You're shaking your head like that's what you do.
My mom does that.
So a big long sheet of aluminum foil. You put the lettuce inside, and you close it up.
You don't detach it from the head, right? You're saying you just wrap the head of lettuce in
she
foil?
just wraps the head of lettuce, and when I need some, I just take some, and then I put a new thing of aluminum foil.
Oh, she wraps the head in the with aluminum foil.
Yes.
All right. They say skip the plastic wrap. Do not use the plastic wrap. You should use, and what I'm looking at here is not a head of lettuce. This might be romaine, so it's different anyway, but it's cut up lettuce. that you put and you wrap it in aluminum foil.
Oh, that's interesting.
It says as it loses that moisture in the refrigerator, it becomes limp, and over time it will brown and wilt using the plastic wrap. You can place it into cold water and bring some life back to it. However, the best option is to stop the wilting from taking place altogether. It's possible to extend the life of lettuce with a simple trick of using aluminum foil, and it works for all types of lettuce, whether it be cut or romaine or a head of lettuce.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
Yeah. And then in 29 years, we'll be like, do you know how much money I've spent over 29 years in aluminum foil?
Well, and I asked about the cut part because I'm trying to remember if it's lettuce or not. But are there certain things that once you cut them with the metal knife, they begin to decay immediately?
I believe,
right?
Sure. You're adding more cuts to it. So
and air and oxygen gets in there. And
yeah. So if you had a head of lettuce, don't cut it up. Just take the pieces, or I guess you could cut the one side. But aluminum foil seems to be the answer. So they say. I don't know. It's just one of these stories that I thought was interesting. This year, because the weather is a bit warmer, they say we may be dealing with more in the line of ticks. And it could be a bad year for ticks. And I believe right now there are 6 really bad tick-borne diseases that are coming with this year's shipment of ticks.
Now, I appreciate the information, and this is not directed at you. Glad they're giving us the heads up, but is this like COVID light? Is this the next thing? You better watch out. Don't go outside. Don't play in the yard.
It could be.
I hope that, because it's like we go from one tragedy, disaster, scare thing. You should be petrified of this to the next.
Just remember the day where you'd be like, okay, kids, roll down the hill. Now it's like, stop rolling down the hill.
You can't touch that grass. There's insects in there.
Now I got to check you to see if but it's weird. If you did roll down the hill as a kid 30, 40 years ago, you didn't come out with ticks. Today you do.
Yeah. Ticks are obviously, I'm not saying they're not a real threat, but
it's
like every year, the tick season's going to be the worst it's ever been.
I may mispronounce some of these, but you want to know the 6 diseases you can get from a tick?
Yes.
Here we go. Babesiosis. Babesiosis. I'm sure I mispronounced it. It's a parasite. It's an infection transmitted by the bite of a deer tick. These ticks are about the size of a poppy seed and found on small mammals like the white-footed mice living in the Northeast and, of course, deer. And by the way, this is treatable, but what it can do is you lose red blood cells, and it can cause anemia, and it can be really bad. It is a 10-day course of antibiotics, but it is not, it can be treated.
Okay, that's
Whereas
good.
Lyme disease is something that we all know. You can get Lyme disease, and it can affect you for the rest of your life.
Correct. That's the big one that I'm really scared of.
Well,
the Lyme disease.
I know a few people who've had a tick bite and have Lyme disease, and it affects them. Aches and pains and fatigue and all of that. Here's a couple of others. The Powassan virus infection. 3 different tick species carry this. There are only about 20 to 30 cases a year. There you go. So this is a rare type, but it causes mild symptoms, headache, vomiting, and fever, if that's mild for you. You don't want to get Rocky Mountain spotted fever, because you can get it from ticks, apparently. The disease is part of a larger class of illness, strikes thousands of people in the States every single year. There's alpha-gal syndrome. You see that on college campuses all the time. And a few others. A total of 6 different diseases you can catch from the ticks this year, and they say it's going to be a really bad tick season.
Watch out for those alpha gals. Or look for them. I don't know.
Those alpha gals will get you every time. Eben Brown from Fox News, the Trump grand jury meeting again yesterday. What do we know, Eben? Good morning.
Good morning. You don't want to ask me about tick-borne diseases?
Well, it's quite a headline topic, and it's kind of like the shark attacks. We think Every year they scare the daylights out of you, and you wonder, is it really as bad as they say?
I mean, I got something from a mosquito bite that's had me in the hospital, but that's,
It's funny. We were in Myrtle Beach, and a friend of mine was in the lazy river. We think that's where he got it, but something bit him, and it got so infected. It was one of those infections you can't get rid of. They kept hitting him with antibiotics, and they think it might have been a tick, but who knows?
Yeah, no, I had what they think was dengue fever. It took weeks to go away. I had fever that just kept coming and going, and it was a mess.
You never know what we don't appreciate good health until you run into something like that, and you're like, God,
that is the truth. That is the truth.
That is just something. Okay, so the grand jury meeting and security has been heightened.
Security has been certainly stepped up because I think people, or they think people, are getting kind of edgy about this. That there are people who are going to be quite upset if Donald Trump is indicted, but there are also probably people who are going to be quite upset if Donald Trump is not indicted. So that's kind of how the country has operated.
Yeah, welcome
for the
to
past
America.
5 years.
Yeah. This is so interesting because we fear that if he does get indicted, there's a fear that there could be potentially violence. That is a big fear. On the other hand, after all this hype, could you imagine the grand jury walking away and saying, we've decided not to indict?
I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Normally, grand juries do not take this long to return an indictment. They are not finders of fact or guilt. They're just basically there to say, okay, there's some probable cause here. Normally, that's a pretty low standard to meet. And what happens is that a prosecutor presents some evidence, and it's a short presentation, and the standing grand jury that's called in to hear a bunch of these types of cases, kind of votes and gives like this up or down kind of vote here. And, I don't even think you need a majority. I don't even think you need a unanimous. You need a majority to really go ahead. Obviously, perhaps they have come back and said no, or this case has presented itself as so thin and so weak that the district attorney is still going, well, let's give them a little bit more. Well, let's give them a little bit more. Let's give them a little bit more before we ask them.
Well, what's interesting...
so that's kind of where we're at. And they've presented now yet another bit of testimony from David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, who was, I guess, sort of somewhat involved way back when in the original issue with Stormy Daniels, where she wanted to sell them the story, and he sent her to Michael Cohen as a way to get her paid to be quiet to not sell the story or not have the story disseminated.
Yeah. I do find the last couple of instances where it's been announced that there was testimony, they seem to be it seems to be testimony that's friendly to the former president.
Not intentionally, I don't think.
Okay.
It's all things that the prosecutor has put forward that they would hope would convince the jury to return this indictment. And it comes back, as we, kind of hear from leakers, because it's, grand jury's off, they meet in secret.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to go well. They're really, the district attorney's really whiffing here. And I would suspect that at some point they're going to give up. They have made the invitation for Donald Trump to come testify. I can't see that going well for the district attorney either.
Right.
If the former president were to actually do it, I doubt that he will.
Yeah.
The lawyers are probably saying, "Don't you dare go over to that courthouse."
Right.
You're going to walk away scot-free. Just stay out of this.
I would not. I think you're right. And it's easy for us to sit out here and say, "Oh, this New York City grand jury, these bunch of wackos they can't wait to just hang the president." Well, we don't know who those people are, and I would hope that they're all considering the fact that indicting a former president is a pretty big and historic move. I hope
you're
going to
do it over a check that he didn't write to someone he didn't have an affair to. So that's kind of the thing. There's a low standard for indictment, and this they're obviously having trouble, the district attorney, reaching that standard.
Yeah.
And I think eventually they're going to run out of gas here. But in the meantime, it's it does put a lot of spotlight on what apparently is a political prosecution or attempted one. Anyway.
And I know maybe I don't think I'm alone in this, but my feeling is it totally happened. The money was totally paid. There was a side affair. However, is this worth all of it? Move on. There are bigger things.
The crux of it is none of that is illegal.
Right.
And that's the point. It's not illegal. And to say that it was of a benefit to the campaign and therefore a campaign violation. Well, first of all, it's out of the purview of the Manhattan District Attorney.
Right.
Second of all, those whose purview it's in, namely the Department of Justice and Federal Elections Commission, have come back and said, ain't a crime.
Right.
And so that's where we're at. A few years back, John Edwards, the former North Carolina senator, who was a former vice presidential and presidential candidate, he went to trial, federal trial, for having one of his big-time donors pay his mistress, where it definitely happened because there's a child to prove for this.
Yeah. And a boat ride.
A $900,000 in payments for living expenses, and even that jury acquitted him because again, just really wasn't a crime.
Right.
And it didn't really benefit the campaign because they didn't get elected. So
But Evan, back then, that's when candidates were like, "Oh no, there's trouble. I'm going to get out of the race." Today, that doesn't happen anymore. It's like, oh, trouble.
That was one instance where they got out of the race. Certainly, Bill Clinton did not get out of the race.
Since Clinton, really, Pete, you can't blame Trump. And this really began with Bill Clinton. So, all right,
Evan, if I may,
even went back further than that.
One follow up, and I know this is not what you called about this morning, but since it just popped into my mind, wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago there was a young lady who was out doing the media tours? It happened on a Thursday or Friday, and it extended into the weekend, where she was like, they were asking her, was Trump going to be indicted, and she was giggling. And
she was the Georgia.
So that was the four-person of the special grand jury in Georgia, which was that's a different kind of animal.
Right.
That's that's a group of citizens put together where we present you a bunch of evidence over time. We want you to kind of give us a book report so we can use it as potential evidence to try to go get an indictment.
Now, nothing's happened with that.
Yeah.
But that's not a grand jury. That's different. They make a recommendation.
Well, it's a special grand jury.
Yes.
It's called, but it's not the same animal as what's happening now. It's basically in Georgia, if they want to proceed with an indictment on election interference, they can go to a regular grand jury and say, "Hey, look at this report that we got from another grand jury. That's the evidence we're going to use."
And that could very well. That's far more serious than what's going on in New York City.
But nothing has happened with that, right?
But nothing has happened.
Okay,
not as
I was just curious. Yeah, I thought I missed it. That's all.
All right, Evan. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. As always, we appreciate your time.
You got it, guys.
All right, thanks so much.
I just wanted to ask about that because
that woman was this young girl that somehow became the foreman of this special grand jury, and she gave I believe it was a total of 3 different interviews, and she was relishing in the celebrity of this whole thing. So, but it has to go. Remember though, when we're sending out, we do the same thing. You send out these letters for grand jurors, and I don't know. You don't know who you're going to get. It's our duty as American citizens to stand up and serve on one of these juries. But my question is, I almost feel like you had these, and I don't know how many members there are in the special grand jury, but let's say there's 20 of them. I don't know what it is, but can you imagine? They're all like, "Listen, we don't want to be the face of this thing. Look at Dingbat over there. She'll do it. All right? Let her get out there. She's going to get threatened. She's going to let her do it. Oh, I'll do it." Yeah. And then bang, she's out giving interviews. I mean, awful. Yeah. But what are you going to do? This is the crazy world we're living in now. I have some comments I want to get to before we break. We have a ton to get to. Bill says, "I'm having trouble on YouTube. Something is wrong." I don't know. We're showing it's okay. I'm showing everything's okay, Bill. You can try again. Let me know. Although yesterday's entire broadcast was blocked. Apparently, I'm learning now that you can't play songs.
Not even a little bit.
I played Lion Eyes yesterday by the Eagles, and a copyright infringement alert came up, and they shut down the whole thing. So I'm having that section removed, and the show should be back up today. But, I mean, how can I do this? How can I do a show without being able to play music when I'm so inspired?
I know.
It's all ASCAP BMI, which we pay for here. You would think that we'd be okay on YouTube. And so I called up YouTube, and I just got off the phone. Still no one took my call. I was on for 11 hours on hold. So there's no one to talk to at YouTube. So good luck with all of that. It's some guy named Algorithm. Mr. Algorithm apparently doesn't have time to talk to us. Okay, a couple of comments. Wayne says, you got to record a few of Jeff's calls as an ump and use them when people get the answer wrong on Hobica's free money question of the day.
Good idea.
You're out.
So if I can follow up there, Doug messaged me to say he thought I was kind of making fun. He said, Jeff, you need to take umpiring seriously. I'm hearing a lot of chuckling on the phone. Remember, even though Sal is talking on the phone, on the other senior umpires are listening in and forming their opinions of you. Standing in front of a mirror is very good for you. I used to do it. We all used to do it. Look, I do take this seriously. Just in my mind, I was telling you that I was having some fun in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I think my neighbor can hear me shouting out balls and strikes in the kitchen. The idea of me walking around full gear with the umpire gear on in front of a mirror in my house made me chuckle. But I do take this seriously. I mean, I didn't go to these classes and do the studying if I didn't take this serious.
We're just trying to take a lighthearted look at it.
We have fun here. Come on.
Ross Bartel said, you mentioned all the tick diseases like Lyme disease and some of the others. There is a seventh, not just six. This disease is called tick-tock. Thank you for that,
I
Ross.
shouldn't laugh. I'm not allowed.
Thank you for that. And Greeley says, from a Republican who voted for Trump once, you absolutely nailed it on Trump. As Jimmy says, Jimmy Fallon, every day he commits constant unforced errors that make people like me, who supports his policies and achievements that he managed to push through, in spite of the most concentrated, irrational hatred, foul play, and unfairness anyone in office has ever endured. We just shake our heads. So he has been treated fairly, but as our president, we would expect that he would rise above it all and serve as the great leaders that so many who have come before him have done.
And did you mean he has not been treated fairly?
I don't think that he has been treated well. However, a lot of the mistreatments that he's received, he gets into it. He creates these arguments, and then all of a sudden it's like the woe is me comes into play. So, but I just truly believe that based on, I mean, look at where our economy was when he was in office, and if he could have avoided the craziness, some of the crazy statements during the COVID stuff, if he could have avoided the arguments or making fun of some guy in a wheelchair or the constant personal attacks. How many times did people walk away saying he just did something great, and they're out on tour basically talking about it, but it got interrupted because he said something awful? And that just grabs all the news. And it's not just in the United States, but it sucked up the news worldwide. It wasn't just in the U.S. So if he didn't make those unforced errors, as Greeley calls them, you'd have been focusing on all the good things. And that, to me, continues here as he is campaigning to do this all over again.
You've got the good, the bad, and the stormy. That's what he's got.
There's been a lot of stormy. All right, we have a lot to get to coming up next hour. Stand by.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
The shooter had a detailed plan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, mapping out the attack at a Christian elementary school in Nashville, where that shooter had been a student, and Police Chief John Drake says appears to regret that.
We have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day the actual incident.
The shooter was Audrey Hale, born female but identifying as male, shot and killed when police arrived after murdering 3 9-year-old students, the school's headmaster, and 2 other staffers.
Just a half hour before, a former middle school basketball teammate of Audrey Hale's received chilling texts. In them, Hale reveals she no longer wants to be living and adds that this is not a joke. Despite an attempt to reassure Hale, Hale replies, "I just need to die."
Fox's Jackie Ibanez. President Biden called the school shooting a parent's worst nightmare and praised the quick police response, saying,
"We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart."
One of Republican Senator Rand Paul's staffers, unnamed, is in recovery in Washington after being stabbed Saturday on a D.C. street.
The staffer was treated for life-threatening injuries. Now, that same day, 42-year-old Glenn Neal was arrested. He's been charged with assault with the intent to kill.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. It's up to at least 39 people dead just south of the border in Mexico, where a fire broke out at a migrant facility. Later this morning, the head of Homeland Security, the big question at a Senate hearing about the record surge of illegal immigration. Former President Trump still awaits possible criminal charges, but tells Fox it's a fake case.
This has never been done like this before in the history of our country to this extent.
The New York City grand jury adjourning yesterday without voting whether to indict Trump on allegations that he made a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels.
Fox's Brooke Singman at issue if Trump falsified records and if the payment before the 2016 election broke campaign finance laws. America's listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-1441. That's 800-838-1441.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold, which is the only gold IRA company I trust. So text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Mostly cloudy skies and some light rain. 32 degrees. WIBX News Time 7:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's Lucky Triple Bonus Sale. With 3 bonuses to choose from, save on your sales tax, get a free area rug or free interest for 1 full year. My Carl's, New Hartford Shopping Center, and Destiny USA. Utica Police recently gathered to welcome the youngest recruit to their department. Graham Robertello was made an honorary member of the city's police department, equipping him with his own badge, identification card, and uniform. The young boy suffers from a rare genetic disorder called EB. The National Institutes of Health describes EB as a group of rare diseases that causes the skin to be fragile and blister easily. You can find photos of his visit to the Utica Police Department. Chief Mark Williams and members of the John Creedon Police Benevolent Association Executive Board welcomed Graham to the police station and gave him a tour recently. Again, you can find photos on our website at WIBX950.com. Additionally, the Utica Roadrunners have organized a run-walk to be held in his honor at the Route 840 Trail in New Hartford. That's coming up on April 29th. Once again, more info at WIBX950.com. Police in central New York asking for help finding a teenager who has been missing for several weeks. Cheyenne Jones of Syracuse, who turns 16 today, was reported missing back on February 26th. It's believed she might be traveling to California or Kentucky. At the time of her disappearance, Jones was wearing a black sweatshirt with orange lettering, black pants, and a black jacket. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to call 911. A comedian and actor who is well known around the globe, bringing his latest tour to central New York in just a few weeks. Kevin Hart will be taking the stage at the Turning Stone Resort Casino Event Center in Verona on Sunday, May 14th at 6 p.m. In addition to his comedy specials, Hart has starred in several popular movies like Jumanji, The Next Level, Central Intelligence, and Ride Along. Tickets for the performance go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at the box office or through Turning Stone. And if you're looking for seasonal employment this summer, there is a job opportunity that will put you much closer to Mother Nature than a desk job or working at the mall this summer. Adirondack Rail Bike Adventures is hiring for the 2023 season. Team members will work directly with rail bike passengers, offering safety information, collecting tickets, and helping customers on and off the bikes. And you'll be doing some pedaling yourself on a bike as the guide for customers. It's a 40-hour work week in June and July with part-time opportunities in May, June, September, and October. Full information on our website at WIBX950.com. Your Weather Center forecast has highs today just shy of 50, and we might crack 50 degrees tomorrow. Details from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Lingering lake flurries taper early today, then more sun for the afternoon, a high 41. Tonight, partly cloudy to mainly clear, low 24. And tomorrow, a good deal of sunshine to increasing clouds. Turns windy and milder with a line of gusty rain showers, changing to snow after sunset. A high near 50, but temperatures drop fast behind the cold front. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Cloudy and 32, WIBX News Time, 7:07. All right, in sports, the Giants still negotiating with running back Saquon Barkley. Team owner John Mara says that he told Barkley he wants him to be a Giant for his entire career. Barkley is scheduled to play the 2023 season on a one-year franchise tag at just over $10 million. Under rules of the CBA, the Giants have until July 15th to sign Barkley to a long-term deal before the start of the season. The Jets head coach says he's confident Aaron Rodgers will join Gang Green next season. Boy, this fiasco's gone on longer than the Trump investigation. My goodness. Robert Saleh spoke to reporters on Monday from the NFL meetings. He reiterated the team is not rushing to make a trade for Rodgers. He said, I'm a very positive person and optimistic, so I'm confident things will go the way we're hoping, end quote. Saleh said the team could wait until training camp in late July to make a deal. League insiders are still expecting a trade to be made before draft day as the Packers continue to negotiate more trade compensation from the Jets. The Knicks snapped their three-game losing streak, blowing out the Rockets 137-115 last night. Emmanuel quickly led all scorers with 40 points. The Nets begin a four-game homestand tomorrow night when they welcome the Rockets to the Barclays Center. Hockey, the Islanders snapped a two-game slide, beating the Devils last night 5-1. The Rangers hoping to get back one of their top defensemen. Ryan Lindgren was a full participant during Monday's practice, but according to head coach Gerard Gallant, he remains day-to-day. The 25-year-old has 17 points in 57 games so far this season. The Yankees extended their winning streak to 3 games, taking down the Rays 8-4 in Tampa, but who cares? It's exhibition. The Mets moving on from Darren Ruff. They designated the first baseman and outfielder for assignment on Monday. In a corresponding move, the Mets added right-hander Tommy Hunter to their 26-man roster. Of course, the Major League Baseball season kicks off on Thursday with the full slate of action beginning at 1:10 in the afternoon. The Mets will play at 4:10 on Thursday, and I'm checking on the Yankees here. They're a 1:05 start at Yankee Stadium as they host the San Francisco Giants.
Okay, coming up this hour, we'll speak with Steve Spurbeck on Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Dr. Kent Hall is up. We'll talk to him about some of those tick diseases that you have to be worried about, they say, this year. And Steve Greenberg from Siena College, their latest poll is out. They talk about bail reform, and I had an attorney in my ear yesterday giving me some details and telling me we all have it wrong. And I'll explain with that coming up when we speak with Steve Greenberg. And Hobica's free money question of the day is coming up here in the 7 o'clock hour for Tuesday morning on WIBX.
Hi, I'm Max Carbone, sales manager at Power Sports Utica. We are currently overstocked on 2023 Ski-Doo models, and we are offering up to $2,000 off sticker plus a $500 gift card for anything in the store. Kawasaki KLR models have $1,000 in rebates as well, and we have all colors and trims available in stock and ready for delivery. Kawasaki KLX models have $400 in rebate and up to $1,500 off KX models. Come visit us at Power Sports Utica, Central New York's Four Seasons Toy Store.
More and more people are turning to Wheelock Disposal for their trash pickup and recyclables. Let's hear from their happy customers why they love Wheelock Disposal Service. Here's Mike in New Hartford.
7 years ago, I moved to the area. Wheelock was referred. If I have to call the office with a question as to what can go in what container or how can I get something picked up, they're very courteous. They really treat me as a valued customer every time. So I will always stay with Wheelock Disposal, refer Wheelock Disposal, because I love Wheelock Disposal.
And now let's hear from Will and Sequoit.
I'm a Wheelock Disposal customer because all my friends and neighbors recommended them. Their prices are unbeatable. Their service is amazing. We pick up everything you need, everything you want done. They're here on time. Rain, snow, sleet, doesn't matter. They're always here and always reliable. And that's why I love Wheelock Disposal.
Wheelock Disposal Service has a special introductory offer for all new customers. Check out WheelockDisposal.com. We love garbage.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Adirondack Home Furniture now carries Smith Brothers Furniture. Smith Brothers has been creating customized living room furniture since 1925 and is known for its high-quality, solid-built, top-of-the-line pieces. Made in America with modern technology using age-old craftsmanship, Smith Brothers offers furniture that you can have confidence in for generations. Smith Brothers is a solid and dependable brand who provide innovative furniture design with every piece. Smith Brothers is a leader in the furniture industry with their award-winning line of upholstered furniture. They have built a reputation for their value and design leadership with furniture of the finest quality. We would love for you to come and browse our extensive inventory and see for yourself. Smith Brothers, now available at Adirondack Home Furniture. Stop in today. Adirondack Home Furniture in the Riverside Center, North Utica, or at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Create the home of your dreams with Smith Brothers and Adirondack Home Furniture. 315-738-7817.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions, not available in all areas. If you're a small business owner, listen up. Pi Insurance wants to give you one of those aha moments, the kind that could save you money. Workers' comp is probably one of the biggest costs you face. But did you know that insurance providers have flexibility in setting their prices? That's right, but many don't bother giving small businesses the savings you deserve. Instead, you can get lumped in with other businesses and overcharged. Pi Insurance was created to change that. With Pi, you get a quote tailored specifically to your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified. Take 3 minutes to see how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent for Pi or go to ineedpi.com. That's ineedpie.com.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Hey, River Hills Properties, Bill and Robin Mon Show. In the very, 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 very beginning, when they came to me, we sat and we talked about their style of selling homes and helping people buy homes. And it was completely different. They wanted to offer services that other real estate agencies don't offer. And they have done just that. It has allowed them to grow to where they are today. All of the agents that work with River Hills Properties, everybody has the same philosophy, and it's all about one thing: lowering that stress level, working with the seller, and helping out the buyer, putting the deal together from start to finish. And it could mean prepping your home and getting it ready so that it's ready for sale. And you know that every time your house is shown, your listing agent is there, the service continues. No one's walking through your house without your listing agent right there on the spot, making sure the doors open, the lights are on, and the house is ready to be shown. And if they have questions, your listing agent is right there to answer those questions. Help speed up the process. And for us, my wife and I, it just lowered the stress level. The minute there was an issue, we reached out to Robin, and it was taken care of every step of the way. And that's the River Hills way. All about how hard they work for you. River Hills Properties in Barneville, Little Falls, Utica. If you're even thinking about selling a home or a property this year in 2023, think River Hills Properties. Sit with them, chat with them, and see how they can help you. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call 315-896-1009. Remember, nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Well, good morning. Steve Spurbeck is in studio with us now. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Steve started Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and I think the last time we did something really big with you was back at Christmas time.
Yes, we built some beds in the Stanley and had an awesome bedding drive. Filled up a trailer full of bedding that we just actually probably got through the pile this past weekend. So
it was our Christmas Eve show. Jeff missed it; he had COVID.
Yeah,
it's the new thing we talk about in America today. So and so missed it; he had COVID. But what how cool it was to see it all happening in the lobby right there.
You know, there was a mini. You know, we have an assembly line process, so it's a pretty cool process that Sleep in Heavenly Peace has. You know, it goes from being cut, you know, uncut lumber to being tapped and drilled and sanded to the final assembly where we put the headboards together. So it's a pretty cool process. I think most people that come to a build are pretty impressed by what we do, and you don't need any experience, so you can come and you know we'll teach you.
That's part one of the Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Part two, which is the most important part, is the shocking realization that we've all had, is that the number of kids who sleep on the floor, sleep on a couch, in a chair, double up in a
with mom and dad.
Right. The number of kids who do not have a proper place to sleep.
There's no official study, but based upon our local numbers, well, we've delivered in 18 months 971 beds.
Wow.
Each bed is worth $250, so you can do the math as to how much support that we've had from donations from people in our community. But unfortunately, we still have a waiting list of 180 kids.
Wow.
So applications come in every day. We'll always have a waiting list, which is why we're here today to announce Mega Build. We had Mega Build last year at Sanger Town Square. It was an awesome weekend. It's a chance for us to get a bunch of volunteers that maybe can't get to a build.
Yeah.
And, you know, a chance to get 300 volunteers through in a weekend to see what Sleep in Heavenly Peace is about. So we're going to have Mega Build 2 this year, May 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's going to be at our shop this year because we have such a large shop inside Maida Tiffany at 55 Oriskany Boulevard in Yorkville. So, you know, we're going to try to do 300 beds this week.
Wow.
This year, so we can wipe out our backlog.
So how many people will you need?
We'll need 300 volunteers, and it's crazy. So we put a sign-up genius out. We have a community build.
Yeah.
50 building, slots for volunteers, and they fill up within 2 hours.
Wow.
So it's just a chance for us to get a lot of volunteers through to see what it's about, and a chance for them to give back to the community.
Yeah.
So
I love it. And how do people reach out? How do they donate if they'd like to donate?
So we're also going to have a bedding drive, so you can stop down if you can't come down to build. You can stop down and donate some twin-size bedding that weekend as well inside Mida Tiffany. But we'll have sign-ups going out probably in the next 10 days.
Okay.
So people just watch our Facebook, sign up for our email on our website, and so they can get on our email communication list.
All right. And you already have a waiting list of 180 kids.
180 kids, and
180.
applications come in every day. You know, on a given Saturday, we'll deliver 30 to 40 beds, but it just comes, applications come in. We can't build them fast enough, so that's the reason why we're going to have the Mega Build 2.
Okay.
And can I just mention, we can have Mega Build 2 because we have some awesome sponsors. Can I just go down the list? Locally, it's Lupini Construction, USCW District Union 1, MetLife, AAA Northeast, Capero Technologies, AmeriQ Credit Union, First Source Credit Union, GPO Credit Union, Molding Solutions Incorporated, McDonald's, Adirondack Bank, and Seneca Wine and Liquors. It's because of those companies that have donated that are funding MegaBuild. MegaBuild is about a $45,000 investment.
Oh, my goodness.
And because of those companies, we have raised the funds to be able to give back and buy the lumber. Lumber is expensive, you know, plus mattresses. We got to buy mattresses. And when a kid receives a bed, they're receiving brand new bedding, brand new pillows, brand new mattresses. There's nothing used there.
Yeah.
It's all brand new.
That's awesome. All right, and you
I didn't realize it was that much. $45,000 you said to do a mega build, and how many beds will you build?
300.
Wow.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, what we saw you doing, I mean, literally cutting and assembling and all that stuff on Christmas Day. And the beauty of what we did, it wasn't Christmas Day, it was a Christmas Eve show. But what we did that day was you built, put it into the vehicle, and delivered.
Yep.
That was the coolest part. Okay, you have some personal news as well here.
Yep. Is Brian on the line? Or?
He is, yes.
Yep.
Hi, Brian. You're on the radio here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. And you're in here with Jeff and Steve.
So, you know, my business is taking me in another direction. We're expanding down in Georgia sometime in the next year. So I felt it was best to turn over the leadership of Sleep in Heavenly Peace at this time so I could still be here to support the group. So Brian Manine from Rome, who's on the phone right now, is going to be the president, chapter president. Bill Gagnon is going to be a co-president, and Ashley Hennings from Newport is also going to be a co-president. So
nice.
It gives us the next 6-7 months to work together with the team and to make a seamless transition. So when I do end up leaving, it'll just continue to go onwards and upwards with the team we have in place.
Brian, thank you for stepping up here.
Oh, no problem. Certainly glad to do it. It was an honor to be asked, and I definitely have some big shoes to fill. Steve started this out, as we all know. We heard the story back in November or August 21, I believe it was, and look where we've grown.
Now, have you practiced? Because with Steve, it's hard to say no to him, and there's just it's a technique that he uses. Has he taught you the technique, and have you practiced it all?
He's been teaching me, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
What's even worse, it's hard to say no to my sisters.
Yeah,
because they don't give up.
Well, listen, that's all important. That's what makes this whole thing work. So
it really is easy to talk about. It's kids that have It's kids that have no choice in their situations that we're just trying to help and give back. And our community has been unbelievable in supporting us. Without community donations, we're 100% volunteers and 100%, funded by our community, and they've been awesome.
All right, Brian. Well, you'll be communicating with us, and you'll have to ask us, and we'll be in a position where we won't be able to say no to you.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Brian. Thank you so much. And a great organization. You just witnessed this outside the area, and you're like, why did we not have this here?
Well, because of partners like you guys have been been unbelievable in getting this off the ground right from the day one. When I said, "Hey, Bill, I got this idea. What do you think?" And 3
Let's
weeks
do it.
later, we were off the ground.
Yeah.
And it's because of you guys, allowing me the time to come in whenever we have something. And we couldn't have done it without you guys. So I really do appreciate it. Everything you have done, Karen Carey, has been a big supporter of us. So without Town Square Media and WIBX, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are.
Listen, we appreciate that, but the fact is, it's the hard work that you guys have all done that you made this thing happen. So the fact that you're able to step away and still the organization carries on, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'll be more proud when I'm sitting in Georgia in the sunshine.
To
see the numbers. Hey, we delivered 50 beds today, or we're doing this, we're doing that. I'll be more proud to see it grow. It's not
as you're sitting in the sunshine.
As I'm sitting in the sunshine.
Yeah, all right, I completely understand. All right, Steve, nice job. Congratulations.
One more time. You're always looking for bedding. Where do people? You're looking for new bedding, but for twin beds, how do people get to you? Drop it off. What do they do?
New twin size bedding. We have 2 drop off locations, so you can drop it off at First Choice Staffing, Colonial Plaza in Whitesboro, or Utica Gas and Electric, Federal Credit Union, 215 Campion Road, Old Campion Road in New Hartford. They have drop-off sites, or you can just get a hold of me by email or on Facebook messaging, and we'll arrange to have someone come pick it up.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, Steve, thank you.
Thank you.
Job. Steve Spurbeck, Sleep in Heavenly Peace is the name of the organization, and boy, they do incredible things. I want to switch over to Dr. Kent Hall, standing by right now from MVHS. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good. Boy, we still hear from people who tell us, can't make it to your event, I'm down with COVID. We're still, after all of this time, we're still hearing it.
Yeah, it's still out there, although I will tell you that it is on a downward slide, at least for now. Not surprising as the weather, hopefully gets a little bit warmer. We're down to 8 patients in the Mohawk Valley Health System that are admitted with COVID. So definitely, single digits is always nice, but there is still transmission out there. Thankfully, people aren't getting as sick as they were initially. The combination of the virus itself causing less acute disease, along with the people having immunity either because they've had COVID once or more and they've gotten vaccines. But yeah, people, it is still out there. This is a disease that's not going to go away. This is a disease that we will need to learn to live with, and the combination, like I said earlier, of natural immunity from being infected as well as from vaccines is going to allow us to do just that.
Doc, are you seeing, there was a time when we first started experiencing COVID where those who were getting sick with it would either have, I think Bill's wife had this, the loss of smell and taste, or you'd have this brain fog, this exhaustion. Those who are being infected with it now, are they still experiencing those things, or has that kind of gone by the wayside?
So they do still experience it somewhat, but the presenting symptoms have definitely changed. So you're exactly right, Jeff. Early on, it was significant shortness of breath, loss of taste and smell. The brain fog really became more of a long COVID symptom. Now you're really getting the primary symptoms have really moved from those to really being more generalized body aches, low-grade fever, upper respiratory, so nasal congestion, sore throat, dry cough, but not the significant symptoms that we were having before. The long COVID, again, now this is preliminary, so I will preface it by saying that, hard data is not out there, but early data is showing that long COVID currently is also going down, so the brain fog and the long-term effects, the fatigue and things like that seems to be declining with people that are getting infections in the last 3 to 6 months compared to what was happening 2 or 3 years ago.
I just still can't help but wonder the brain fog, the fatigue. I just. The body is like, if you're an electrician out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The body is very similar. Like, you could have something going on, you got an outage, something isn't working right, And it could be 5 different things causing it. It could be 2 at the same time. It could be something completely unrelated. It's so difficult to trace back problems sometimes if you're an electrician and a physician. And I wonder how many times someone thinks it's COVID or long COVID, when in reality it could be something else, or it just could be they've reached a point in their lives where they need a little more rest.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Is we tend to get we as human beings, kind of our psychology is set that we anchor on things, and it is whatever is put in front of us, and first is kind of what we anchor on, and we really need to take a step back and to not do that. So the reality is that, we're talking about COVID. We've been talking about COVID now for 3 years. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was all COVID all the time. But the reality is that there are other diseases out there. There are other things that cause very similar symptoms, which is why when we see patients that present to the emergency department, we need to be very careful and say, okay, it could be COVID, but it could be a lot of other things. So really, what are the symptoms and what are the possibilities of the etiology for these symptoms? Because we don't want to miss pneumonia. We don't want to miss, if somebody's having shortness of breath, we don't want to miss that they're in heart failure and things like that. So it is something that we in the medical community actively work against, anchoring to make sure that we're not missing things.
Doc, is it a situation as far as long COVID, when you talk about this fatigue or brain fog, where it's based on a diagnosis from a physician, their interpretation of the symptoms you're explaining to them, or is there a test where you can tell?
So unfortunately, Jeff, there is no test. It is based on the constellation of symptoms that people describe, and then really looking for, are there other causes for it? So it's almost a diagnosis of exclusion. You have to have had COVID at some point in time, because if you didn't have COVID, then you obviously can't have long COVID. But once you know that is the case, then you need to make sure that people are not having early dementia or something else that may be causing this. And if they don't, it's a diagnosis of exclusion. You exclude the other things, and then you say, okay, this is what's left, and so this is what we will work with. Unfortunately, there are no treatments for it, so it's not like you can say, okay, you've got long COVID, I'm going to give you this medication and you're going to get better. And again, we're 3 years into this, which sounds like a long time, and certainly the last 3 years have felt like a decade or longer. But the reality is that, we're still early, especially for these long-term effects. We don't know if long COVID is going to basically fade away, and that people are currently having symptoms and have been having symptoms for 6 months or a year. In 3 years or 5 years, they may no longer have them, or they may continue to have them. So these are why we need what are called the longitudinal studies, the studies over time, to be able to say, okay, this is the natural history, the natural progression of this disease complex.
I just I had the thought over the weekend that I wonder if I'm dealing with some level of long COVID. Bill, as you know, I've always had some sleep issues, but the amount of time I will sleep on weekends, if I don't have something going on, it's outrageous. And then I get up, and I'm up for 25 minutes, and I go right back to bed.
And Doc, he had COVID in December, so late December. So you're still in that period where there's still an element, at least what I felt, was an element of getting back to normal.
Yeah, so you're right. It does. COVID can linger without necessarily being quote unquote long COVID. On the one hand, on the other hand, you may exactly be right. What I would recommend is that if you're having these symptoms of fatigue and things like that, you want to make sure that it's not something else. You could have anemia. You could have. I'm not going to try and diagnose you, but some things that also cause similar symptoms are anemia or thyroid disease or things like that. So you need to make sure that it's not something else that may be readily treatable, as opposed to, oh, I had COVID, now I've got these symptoms, this is long COVID.
Yeah. And then one more follow-up, something you said, in order to have long COVID, you must have experienced COVID. Is there a thought in the medical community? Is it believed that basically everyone over the age of 3 or 5. Has everyone had COVID, do we think? Or are there actually some adults out there or, mid-teens who've never been infected with COVID before?
Davey says he's never had it.
So great question. I believe that the vast majority of people have had COVID in some way, shape, or form. Again, remember, COVID, you could be infected with COVID and not have any symptoms at all. That was a not insignificant number of people. But the reality is that I do believe that there are some people, around the United States and some people around the world, some people in Utica, that have never been infected with COVID. And if you tested their blood for antibodies against COVID, you would find that they did not have them. It's a pretty small number, I would say, but it is definitely true. That is obviously you would also have to exclude those people who have had the vaccine, because the vaccine will give you antibodies even if you never had COVID.
Sure.
So that makes it that much more difficult to actually trace out.
All interesting, and you mentioned one thing here that I think we all have to hang our hats on, and that is until time goes by and we can take a look back on this, history is really going to be what shows us the most, right?
That's correct. History and the scientists that are actually doing these longitudinal studies, basically watching a population of patients over time to see what happens. And some of these longitudinal studies will last 10, 20, 30 years. Some have lasted 50 years or longer. So, we're still in the very early stages of this.
And then finally, I wanted to talk today. They're out today talking about tick-borne illnesses, and that this year, based on the fact that it was a warmer winter, we probably are going to be dealing with a higher population of ticks and those that are carrying diseases. What's your warning to people out there when it comes to something that I don't ever remember worrying about when we were kids?
Yeah, so tick-borne diseases, things like Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever and things like that, are much more prevalent now than they were when you and I were kids. And so it is something that we need to be very aware of. I am a very strong proponent for people getting out into nature and doing things, being active. So what I would say is you need to be smart and careful. So if you're out, do the precautions that the nature people tell you to do, which is, if you're wearing boots and you're wearing socks, you want to tuck your pant leg into your socks to make it less likely for the ticks to get into the skin. Once you're done, you go home and you take a look at your body, or have your partner take a look at your body to make sure that there aren't any ticks hiding anywhere, especially because obviously we can't cover 100% of our skin. But being careful is very important. I would say the same thing is true with animals. So if you have your dog, if you're going out for a walk with your dog, you should look at them, because the tick may get on the dog and then jump onto you. So you need to be careful about that too.
I mow the lawn. I always mow the lawn when I'm wearing shorts. I don't wear pants when I'm mowing the lawn. And but I do spray a little bit. I use the spray, and they say some of these sprays can cause cancer. But which is worse, getting the tick bite? Because you can always go in and wash that spray off, right?
Yeah, and some of the sprays may cause cancer. Although, again, the FDA has done a pretty good job of saying if we definitely see it causes cancer, then it's taken off the market. I mean, and then what you need to do is just be judicious. So you can use sprays and then wash them off after you no longer need them and things like that. That's absolutely true. Would I rather have cancer or Lyme disease? That's a fool's choice. I'm not sure I would want either one. So
well, and that's the other thing. Lyme disease, if you talk to people who have suffered it, it can be debilitating.
It can, and Lyme disease. We think about rash and fevers and things like that, but you can have long-term consequences from it. It can affect your heart. It can affect your brain. So you want to be very careful with it.
Doc, as always, we appreciate your time, and once again, we saved a $25 copay.
Thanks, everybody. I will say we are 7 months to the day away from moving into the Wynn Hospital.
Wow, isn't that something?
It is. We are really looking forward to it.
All right. Very interesting. And it's going to be an interesting few months here going forward. Thank you.
It is. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Have a great day. Please be safe.
Am I correct in saying that your copay is not $25?
No.
What is your copay? I thought everybody's copay was like $25, $30.
Mine's it might be $60.
What's yours, Davey?
It's $35.
It is, okay.
Well, okay, so maybe because I think we're on the same right through here.
It was $100 when I went to have my emergency procedure. When I went to the emergency
So an
room.
ER copay is $100.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me see here. Hold on. Let me pull this off. Yeah, it doesn't list it on here, but I want to say I'm at least.
You know, if you don't have a prescription plan on your insurance, they say you can go to like Walmart or some of these other big box stores, and you can get stuff for like $3-4. A lot of times.
I do.
Otherwise, if you go to your regular pharmacy, you might be spending $100 on a prescription. I know somebody who has a prescription. It is, what was it? They got to do it 4 times a month, and it is $1,800 an injection.
Oh my goodness!
You imagine that?
No.
Yeah.
My one pill I take every day, if I didn't have insurance for my situation, would be $154 for 30 pills. And with our insurance, it only costs me $7.
Oh, that's good. No, that's.
But they want to
supposedly why we're paying insurance, right? Isn't
they want to
do
9. The only thing that stinks is that our insurance don't cover 90 days. They only do 30.
Oh, okay. Well, you live with it for the $7.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this medicinal. We should get to, this is continuing the prescriptions that are you can't find right now. You need certain kids' medicines, Adderall, that sort of thing, cold medicines. There are certain things you can't get. Pharmacies can't get the product right now. It's craziness what we're dealing with. All right, let's do our free money question of the day. That'll make everything all better. Davey, and this morning we're looking for caller number
6.
Caller 6. $1 shy of what he pays for his medicine. Caller 6. 6 caller through the phone lines right now. Your chance to win $100 from Habaika. Plus, we have Fat Cats Comedy Club. Your chance to win tickets. Oh, Davey's already on it. Your chance to win tickets to any show this weekend at Fat Cats Comedy Club. And very easy to do. Just make the phone call. Oh, and I have the food and fun card as a consolation as well. Okay? That's a $25 gift card at Mohawk Valley Garden. 6th caller right now, your chance to win from WIBX.
How do you sum up 70 years in 30 seconds? The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida counties has helped nonprofit groups put more than $110 million donor dollars to work over the last 7 decades. Programs, services, people, places, progress. Our 30 seconds are about up, but we're just getting started. Learn more at foundationhoc.org and help us work toward a vibrant region with opportunity for all.
This is Harry G., the heat pump expert from Country Suburban. When your state planning to eliminate fossil fuels, heat pumps are the wave of the future. Heat pumps can save you up to 30% or more on your heating and cooling bills. Right now, you can receive up to $20,000 in heat pump incentives. Call 315-735-5300 for a free estimate.
Offer good while funds are available.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp now for free information on how to get started today. InventHelp provides invention services that help everyday inventors get started with their idea. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. Our services include professional materials needed to showcase your invention, and 3D animation and prototype modeling that help you demonstrate your idea. Get down to the details of your idea with a technical drawing. The InventHelp Data Bank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Take advantage of the opportunity to get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
It's March, and you know what that means? Taxes are almost due. Jackson Hewitt can help you win tax season. That's the sound of your maximum tax refund. The sound of getting 50% off tax prep. The sound of many of our competitors' prices going up. And the sound of getting to your nearest Jackson Hewitt. Hurry in for 50% off tax prep before this offer expires April 9th. Limited time offer for new clients filing in participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Yeah.
Manansky.
All right, I just got a text message, and it says, tell Bill it's not craziness we're dealing with. It's called the Biden administration.
I would think that the Biden administration would want all those meds to be readily available. It'll level things out a little bit with inflation and interest rates.
But, you know, a choice between Biden and Trump, you could almost argue, is the question you posed to Dr. Hall. Do you want cancer or Lyme disease?
Boy, it's really, it poses the question, is this the best we can do? John is in Remsen. Hello, John. Good morning. Good morning. All I have to do is hit this button, and we are together. Good morning. Hi, John.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Good. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
I know you are. You get a chance here. We have Fat Cats Comedy Club tickets in Washington Mills. We have Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card, $25 gift card. We have cash. It comes from the Hobeika Law Firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika. For your legal needs, call 315-724-1600. And here is your question. 7 seconds to answer. The Yukon women lost to Ohio State on Saturday. It's the first time that the Yukon women have not made the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament since what year? Ready, go.
First time since 2020.
That is in a story on our website. There's actually a young lady who just recently graduated from New Hartford who plays on the team, Ohio State. They lost last night in that Elite Eight game. It's 2005.
Wow.
Talk about a dynasty. Yeah. Well, the answer, 2005. You were in the 2000s at least. I'll give you whatever show you want for the Fat Cats Comedy Club. We'll do a table for 6. And the Utica Food and Fun card. It's a $25 gift card at Aquavino, Babe, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, or any concession stand at Adirondack Bank Center or the Nexus Center. And, John, you stand by. Davey's going to hook you up.
Thanks, Bill. Have a good day.
Right, John, thank you so much. 2005. Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, they're, for a while, I mean, Yukon men were their own dynasty, but nothing like the women. It's incredible. On the line right now, Siena's just put out a new poll. Steve Greenberg is with us now. Stephen, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Great to be with you.
So this one, you ask a lot of questions. We talk about issues here in New York State, talk about upcoming presidential election. What's your takeaway from the poll?
Well, I mean, as you say, there's many different parts of it. Certainly there's a lot in here for legislators and the governor to think about in terms of where the public's at on a variety of issues that they're debating this week as they try to come up with a new state budget. It doesn't look like it'll be on time by Friday, but hopefully not too late.
Right.
And then on the political side, we take a look at, where the president, the governor stand and where New York Democrats and New York Republicans are a year and a half out from the presidential election. So lots in here.
Republicans still with, especially in upstate New York, right, which is where the bulk of Republicans are, still strong, standing strong with former President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Trump overall his favorability is 38% favorable, 57% unfavorable. Donald Trump has been unfavorable with New York voters since before he was president, while he was president, since he's been president. But among New York State Republicans, Trump remains very strong, 74% favorable, 22% unfavorable. We asked these Republicans, and these are not likely primary voters next year, but they're a sample of all New York State Republicans. If the primary were tomorrow, would you be with Donald Trump? Would you be with Ron DeSantis, or would you prefer another candidate? And right now, what Republicans tell us is 52% of them, a clear majority, are with former president, 27% are with the Florida governor, and 18% say they would like another candidate. Although when we asked them for who they'd want, we didn't get a whole lot out of that. I think what's particularly interesting is Ron DeSantis overall underwater, although close to break even. 39% of New Yorkers view DeSantis favorably, 41% view him unfavorably. Among Republicans, very strong, 62% favorable, 24% unfavorable. Trump, as I mentioned, among Republicans is 74-22. So they're fairly comparable. DeSantis not quite as well known as Trump, not surprisingly. But if we look at those Republicans who view both Trump favorably and DeSantis favorably, and we look at what they do in the head-to-head matchup, they're with Trump 59-35.
Wow, interesting.
It's funny you talk about New York Republicans. I think they're on the World Wildlife Foundation's endangered species list. I mean, there's 15 left in the whole state?
Well, it is there are more independents now than Republicans in New York State.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now, 50% of the enrolled voters of this state are Democrats. Only 22% are Republicans. 23% are independents. And 5% belong to minor parties, although I will say the vast majority of that 5% who belong to minor parties, the vast majority of them belong to the Independence Party. So my guess is they think they're independent even though they're enrolled in a party.
Right.
What did the survey show as far as what New Yorkers feel about Joe Biden?
Biden is down a little bit. He was stronger last month than he is right now. His favorability rating is just barely above water, 48% favorable, 45% unfavorable, down from last month when he was at a 54-43. He remains very strong with Democrats, 74%. Nearly three-quarters of Democrats have a favorable view of Biden. Not surprisingly, 84% of Republicans have an unfavorable view, and Biden's not doing well with independents in New York right now. 55% of independents have an unfavorable view of Biden compared to 34% who have a favorable view. So then we ask Democrats, and they make up half the sample here. They make up half the registered voters in the state. We ask them what would you like to see your party nominate Joe Biden for president in 2024, or would you prefer your party to nominate another candidate?
This is interesting.
New York Democrats not strong for the president, even though three-quarters of Democrats, as I said, have a favorable view of Biden. Only 43% of them want him to be the nominee next year. 51% of Democrats said they would prefer another candidate. Now, again, we followed up and said, hey, who would you like that other candidate to be? We didn't get a whole lot. Nearly two-thirds of Democrats didn't give us any name. But among those who did, there was a smattering, 5% for Buttigieg, 3% each for Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders.
Wow. Well, and you wonder why at the end of the day, Biden is the candidate. I just feel like somehow the Democrats have wound up with a very, very light bench. They don't have much of a bench. Meanwhile, the Republicans have all of these candidates ready to run, but the one elephant in the room is the one guy they fear they can't beat in Trump. Interesting.
A couple of other things that you looked into. Giving judges more discretion to set bail for offenders accused of serious crimes. I found this interesting, especially the number among Democrats.
Well, and if you can, before you go with this, Steve, I have an attorney who's telling me the premise is all wrong, that what we're hearing from politicians is not true, that the judges have the exact same discretion that they had prior to bail reform to impose bail. The only difference is that they have to put their reason on record. That's the only change, according to this attorney. Nonetheless, if we're following the political the political conversation, my guess is that most New Yorkers want judges to be able to have more discretion. Is that true?
Absolutely. Look,
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on the radio. I have heard arguments substantively on both sides.
Yep.
The law as is fine. No, the law needs to be changed. I am not going to comment on that, but I will tell you that overwhelmingly, New Yorkers want to see judges have more discretion to set bail. 72% say yes, 20% say no. And as you just mentioned, I think the breakdown by party might surprise people a little bit. 69% of Republicans support this idea, 71% of independents, and 76% of Democrats. So even stronger support for this proposal from Democrats than from Republicans, by a little bit.
Interesting. Any other issues that the voters saw to be important that the legislators should be looking at as they argue over this budget?
Well, we asked about, as I said, 9 proposals that are being debated now in Albany, one of which we just talked about, giving judges more discretion, that has wide bipartisan support.
Yeah.
Another issue that had wide bipartisan support, and that one, giving judges more discretion, the governor put in her budget, the legislature doesn't want to do it. The next one, the governor does not want to do, but the legislature has proposed it in their one-house budget, and that's increasing the personal income tax for those New Yorkers making more than $5 million a year.
Interesting.
More than 3/4 of New Yorkers, 76% support it, only 19% oppose. It's supported by 83% of Democrats, 74% of independents, and 64% of Republicans.
Wow. Interesting stuff. And these polls you put out monthly, is that correct?
Pretty much. We don't maybe wind up doing 12 a year. We probably wind up doing 10 a year.
Okay.
But during the legislative session, we try to do it every month. So we'll be out again next month after the budget is passed, hopefully, and take a look at how New Yorkers feel about the budget that the governor and legislature passed.
Did you throw in one last thing? Did you throw anything on the education in New York and the battle that we saw, which really became prominent during COVID over masks and the mask mandates and all of that, but where the public wants more input in their school district? Any polling on that issue?
No, that has not risen to the top yet as an issue that got voters' attention, at least in a big way. When we didn't ask this month, but in previous months we've asked, what's the most important issues you want your legislators and the governor working on in Albany? And education, just at the moment, these issues are cyclical. 5 years ago, nobody was talking about crime. They were talking about it in the 1980s and 1990s, but then we went for 2 decades without really talking about crime. The last several years, crime is a top of the mind issue. Education was for a long time. At the moment, that seems to have fallen, at least among New York voters.
Well, if you think of the 2 really big issues on education in the last decade, was the mask issue was a big deal. And you'd have to go back to, 8-10 years ago with Common Core was a huge one, if you remember.
Absolutely.
Back then.
And no question. And at that point, we were asking a ton of education questions because that was an issue that voters were focused on.
Once again, Steve, you're riding the wave. Nothing wrong with that.
Just like the Yukon men.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not a fan, but, man, they just won't go away. Steve Greenberg, as always, from Siena, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Right.
Talk soon.
Thanks. Do we agree? Yukon just won't go away?
Yeah.
God. Listen, we got a break. Coming up, we'll talk a little, it looks like some Utica politics. A friend of ours will be coming into the studio. Get it? Celeste's friend. Has much to say. We'll get to her coming up. And there's a big hockey tournament going on today. We'll talk more about that. Coming up, WIBX, Utica, Rome.
It's the day after a nightmare in Nashville. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I think he's doing better now that he knows that the shooter is dead.
Her son was at the Christian Elementary School where 3 9-year-old students were murdered along with the school headmaster and 2 other staffers until responding police killed Audrey Hale, a former female student there who had been identifying as male.
We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place.
Police Chief John Drake says they also have Hale's writings. As for her guns,
we know that they were legally obtained. To this point, that is true. Also, they're going through the forensic, going through her digital footprint, looking at past searches, cell phone records, seeing who she contacted, as well as how did she plan this out. And then the last part is that manifesto, which we hope that is going to be released to the public sometime soon.
Fox's Lawrence Jones in Nashville. A nightmare just south of the U.S. border. Fire broke out at a migrant facility. At least 39 are dead. House Republicans are getting ready to send Secretary of State Antony Blinken a subpoena, wanting him to turn over classified materials related to the chaotic U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021.
Diplomats at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul had written what's known as a dissent cable before the withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan. It went out on a special dissent channel, which lets State Department employees express contrary views.
Fox's Jill Nato. Former President Trump still has not been indicted by a New York City grand jury that keeps investigating him over a hush money payment before the 2016 election to keep an affair quiet, even though he denies having that affair. It's a probe into if Trump falsified records and broke campaign finance laws. He calls it a fake case, telling Fox as he runs for president again.
It's a new way of cheating on elections. It's called election interference. What they're doing is if they can't win at the ballot box because I'm leading everybody by a lot in the polls.
America's listening to Fox News.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-1441. That's 800-838-1441.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold, which is the only gold IRA company I trust. So text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
A few clouds and a little bit of clear sky as well. 32 degrees. WIBX news time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Utica and Power Sports of Utica. Stop in today to check out their large selection at 4870 Commercial Drive. Police in Central New York asking for help from the public finding a teenager who has been missing from several weeks. Cheyenne Jones of Syracuse turned 16 today. She was reported missing back on February 26th. It's believed she might be traveling to California or Kentucky. At the time of her disappearance, Jones was wearing a black sweatshirt, orange lettering, black pants, and black jacket. Anyone who knows her whereabouts is encouraged to call 911 right away. A comedian and actor who is well known around the globe will bring his latest tour to Central New York. Kevin Hart will be taking the stage at the Turning Stone Resort Casino Event Center in Verona on Sunday, May 14th at 6 o'clock. In addition to his comedy specials, Hart has starred in several popular movies like Jumanji, The Next Level, Central Intelligence, and Ride Along. Tickets for the performance go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at the box office or through Ticketmaster. Well, speaking of short police officers, of course, he played police in some movies like Ride Along. The answer is not Kevin Hart. Utica Police recently gathered to welcome their youngest and smallest recruit. Graham Robertello made an honorary member of the Utica Police Department, equipping him with his own badge, identification card, and uniform. The young boy suffers from a rare genetic disorder called EB. And EB is a group of rare diseases that causes the skin to be fragile and blister easily. Skin sores, tears, and blisters occur frequently from simple abrasion against the skin, including bumping into or rubbing up against something. Now, the young man got a tour of the Utica Police Department on Friday, and that was with Police Chief Mark Williams and members of the John E. Creedon Police Benevolent Association Executive Committee. There is also a Utica Roadrunners event coming up at the end of April. It's a run-walk being held in his honor. It's happening at the Route 840 Trail in New Hartford, Saturday, April 29th at 9 a.m. More information on our website at WIBX950.com. And an opportunity for a young one in your life to pick up some seasonal employment this summer. And it will put them closer to Mother Nature than a desk job or maybe working at the mall. Adirondack Rail Bike Adventures is hiring for the 2023 season. Team members will work directly with rail bike passengers to offer safety information, collect tickets, and help customers on and off the rail bikes. And they'll be doing some pedaling as well, as they will lead guided tours. It's a 40-hour work week in July and August. Part-time hours available in May, June, September, and October. Pay is $18.50 an hour. More information at WIBX950.com. Your Weather Center forecast calling for a high near 50 today, and hopefully we will crack 50 tomorrow. A closer look at your forecast from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Lingering lake flurries taper early today, then more sun for the afternoon, a high 41. Tonight, partly cloudy to mainly clear, low 24. And tomorrow, a good deal of sunshine to increasing clouds. Turns windy and milder with a line of gusty rain showers, changing to snow after sunset. A high near 50, but temperatures drop fast behind the cold front. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
A few clouds, 31 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:07. All right, in sports, the women's Final Four is now finally set. The Texas Longhorn, hold on, that's the wrong... Here we go. The Final Four of the NCAA Women's Tournament is now set. Top seed South Carolina rolled past second seed Maryland last night. Aliyah Boston and the undefeated Gamecocks advanced to face second seed Iowa, which won the Seattle Regional. Elsewhere, fellow top seed Virginia Tech defeated third seed Ohio State to win the Seattle Regional, and Elizabeth Kitley and the Hokies move on to face third seed LSU, which emerged as the Greenville Regional Champion. The Final Four gets underway on Friday at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. The New York Giants still in negotiations with running back Saquon Barkley. The team hopes that the running back will only play for the Giants in his career. Barkley is scheduled to play the 2023 season on a one-year franchise tag of just over $10 million. Under rules of the CBA, the Giants have until July 15th to sign Barkley to a long-term deal before the start of the season. The Jets head coach says he's still confident Aaron Rodgers will join the Jets. Robert Saleh, speaking to reporters on Monday from the NFL meetings in Phoenix, he reiterated the team is not rushing to make a trade for Green Bay star quarterback. He said, I'm a very positive person and optimistic, so I'm confident things will work out just the way we are hoping.
I can't believe, I've never heard of, and maybe I just haven't paid attention, but I've never heard of a deal like this being played out the way this is being played out.
Yeah, no,
like with the quarterback coming out and saying, I want to play for the Jets. And then management saying, we want him to play for us.
Right.
It's like, well, cut the deal.
You know, and hasn't there always been, Smitty, correct me if I'm wrong here, isn't there a tampering rule where, like, you're not allowed to say, boy, that Odell Beckham Jr., I'd love to have him on my team, right? You can't, if he's on another team, you can't go out and say that.
I think they're all talking now. Everybody's talking.
Rodgers is on the Packers, and the Jets come out. We'd love to have it. I thought you can't do that.
Well, the official NFL season started a week ago, but anything before that, like if they talk to him on March 1st, that's tampering.
Okay.
But is he still a member of the Packers?
Yeah, but they have to make a deal up until June 1st, from what I read this morning. But then after that, they have to pay him.
I mean, the Giants would be in trouble if they came out and they said, boy, Boy, that Tom Brady, I guess that's a bad example because he's retired. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, we'd love to have Patrick Mahomes in a Giants uniform. They'd get fined for saying that. I don't understand. All right, anyway.
I just think the Packers they all feel like Andrew feels. They want to get rid of him.
Yes.
And I think the Jets should pay attention. Why do they want to get rid of him so badly?
Well, look, he is a personality and a bit of a head case and a me guy. At least that's my perception. But, I mean, he's better than what they've got. He is better than
I guess that is true.
The Knicks snapped their 3-game losing streak, blowing out the Houston Rockets 137-115 at MSG last night. Emmanuel Quickly, 40 points. He came within 1 rebound of a double-double after dishing out a game-high 9 dimes. The Nets begin a 4-game homestand tomorrow night when they welcome the Houston Rockets to the Barclays Center. Islanders snapping a 2-game slide. They beat the Devils last night 5-1. The Rangers hoping to get Ryan Lindgren back. He was a full participant during Monday's practice, according to head coach and team officials. He's still, though, day-to-day. The 25-year-old has 17 points in 57 games this season, and and missed 11 games with a shoulder injury prior to tweaking that last week. Blech, easy for me to say.
Well, you got it out, Jeff. You got it out. Not everybody can say that they were able to get it out. Anything else you want to add or try to add?
No. No.
Anything else you want to try to add in there? All right. Listen, I'll tell you about Omni Surgery. The Omni Surgery Center. And they have a website you can go to now. It's called killpain.com. And that's just exactly what we're talking about. So if you're in a position where you're having this back pain that you just cannot live with, it disallows you to be able to sleep. It prevents you from living a normal life. You just can't take it anymore. Reach out to the Omni Surgery Center. They have an office at the Utica Business Park where a lot of the imaging is done and other things. The surgeries are done at French Road. And the website is killpain.com. Dr. Hyder performs these non-invasive techniques. They're basically injections. There's surgery as well. But if you could avoid that, I mean, there's just so much opportunity here to make your pain go away. And I can only tell you one story that I know for sure. Actually, I know 2. I know someone who was there just before we were with Dr. Hyder, had the injections done, and it was miraculous. It's what allows them to go through life without back pain. And you know, this pain that you can't get rid of can cause depression. It can cause suicidal thoughts. I mean, when you can't get rid of pain, just imagine that for a moment. And the answer could very well be Dr. Hyder at the Omni Surgery Center. For my dad, went through, in November, a back injury, just moved the wrong way. There was someone falling. He stepped up to catch them, and it twisted his back. It got worse and worse to the point where it was almost as bad as that throbbing nerve and a toothache, but it was all through his back and his legs, and he could not find a comfortable position to get into to make the pain go away. Not in order to sleep, not to be able to just sit there and make the pain go away. He couldn't get rid of the pain. And it went on for weeks. We had finally reached out to Dr. Hyder at the Omni Surgery Center, and I have to say it was miraculous. He could barely get into the facility. When he came out, he walked out on his own. And within a few hours, the pain was gone. He had 2 treatments, and today he is recovering. He's gaining weight. He's gaining strength. The fall that he took, and I'm talking about this in more of the decline, I should say, that he took, that he suffered from this was severe. And if it wasn't for this shot and this series of injections from Dr. Hyder, I don't know what would have happened. Omni Surgery Center. I call it miraculous. Dr. Hyder, people come from all over the Northeast and all over the country and Canada to get procedures done right here. Call 315-765-8448. There are details on their website, killpain.com. Omni Surgery Center, Business Park, and located on French Road in New Hartford.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Menthol is not just a flavor. It's a manipulative way for big tobacco to target, attract, and addict Black Americans. Tobacco companies aggressively market menthol products using elements of Black culture, putting more products on shelves in Black communities and making them cheaper. And it's not just an injustice, it's killing us. Smoking-related illnesses are the #1 cause of death in the African American community. Help us fight this injustice at notjustmenthol.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Step into spring with Adirondack Home Furniture and quality furniture that's sure to enhance any living space. Whether it be for your great room, your new home office, or outside patio, Adirondack Home Furniture has your style. From modern to farmhouse, rustic to transitional, handcrafted pieces that are totally customizable and are built for enduring use. Beautiful sofas and reclining furniture from Flex Steel, designer fabrics and top brand leathers. With free local delivery and a knowledgeable staff, you'll have your dream home in no time. Adirondack Home Furniture has a large line of quality USA-made furniture from top manufacturers. Our salespeople are non-commissioned, which means you enjoy a relaxing, non-stressful experience. So stop in today to Adirondack Home Furniture for living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and home office. You'll find everything you need for your dream home. Adirondack Home Furniture at Riverside Center in North Utica or at AdirondackHomeFurniture.com. Create the home of your dreams with Adirondack Home Furniture.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So much to get to here this morning. The official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Yesterday, Manaski went over and he tried the latte because he wanted to taste that Almond Joy latte. And what did you think?
It was delicious.
Did you really have it?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, it was so good.
I just threw it out there. I didn't think you really did.
I actually meant to tell you that I went over there and tried it.
That is so funny.
It's good.
So, drive-through or inside?
Drive-through.
Okay, it's fast, right?
Yeah, it is.
It may be 1,000,000 times faster than the one over in the consumer area. There's one there that has a very long line.
Yeah.
This is daylight is you're in, you're out, you're moving. You've got things to do.
Matter of fact, I think I'm going to
Sit
go.
in line. I'm not going to do that.
After the show, I might go get another one.
So the Almond Joy latte, you had it. What did it taste like?
It tastes like Almond Joy.
I haven't had it.
No. It tasted very good.
Now, Almond Joy's got nuts, Mounds don't?
Correct.
Okay.
The coffee did not have nuts.
It did not, okay.
No.
But probably a nutty flavor to the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very good.
They have 14 different flavors.
What are the other ones?
There's pistachio. There's I don't know all of them.
There's pistachio and 13 others.
And 12 others because there's also the Almond Joy.
Right.
I'll have to get all the flavors. Oh, I can give you pumpkin. I know they have pumpkin.
Oh, right. They have pumpkin also. Yeah. No, I think I'm going to go get another
so that
Almond Joy. After the
was
show.
it just like drinking a candy bar?
No, it wasn't that dramatic, but it does. It kind of satisfies that little. I have several sweet teeth.
Snickers satisfies you. Almond Joys don't.
But the coffee is definitely worth it.
Okay. All right. And by the way, we had the question. One of our free money questions was because I went down with my wife on Saturday the rabbit hole of candy. One of those shows on the Food Network where they just keep running them. It's like a marathon. So this was all history of food. I think is the name of the program.
Okay.
And you had said I had asked what is the best-selling candy in America.
What was my guess?
And your guess was Twizzlers.
Oh, yeah, because I hate them.
And I laughed. Like, Twizzlers? What, are you crazy? Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is number one.
Yeah.
But in terms of candy brands, the Hershey Company is number one, and Hershey now owns Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That's a great story. If you look into the history of it, it's something. Hershey bars are in there as well. Hershey bar was the original big seller. That was the biggie early on. It was big after World War I. And I think a lot of the soldiers were given Hershey bars. They were shipping them over during wartime. They were selling a ton of them. Number 2 brand, are you ready? Is M&M's. That doesn't surprise me. This is saying Reese's Peanut Butter. This list says Reese's Peanut Butter Cups is number 3 and Hershey's is number 1. That is not according to the latest figures that I saw. Kit Kat coming in at number 4. Twix. Oh, Twix at number 5. I'm trying to see if Twizzlers is here.
No.
It is number 6.
Is it?
According to this list, which I don't think is correct, but it's number 6. Their annual sales in 2020, $264 million. Part of the reason why Reese's is number 1 is because they have branched out. There's Reese's Pieces. There's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. There's the Reese's Little Cups. There's the Reese's Cereal. I mean, that brand is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Twizzlers, number 6. Skittles, I thought would have been more than Twizzlers. But Skittles is number 7, followed by the Dove Bar, followed by Three Musketeers. And then number 10, which is one of my favorites, is the Snickers bar.
What? That list is wrong.
I think the list is completely wrong.
The Dove Bar beats Snickers and Twizzlers?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
ridiculous.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah, well, look at this. So it says Three Musketeers is number 9 with annual sales of $187 million. Snickers is number 10 with 2020 annual sales of $381 million. 3 times what this list is stupid.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Anyway, they're all at least in the top 10. Love the Mallow Cups too. Love the what are the ones that are they come in a block? Davey, you'd know this. And they have raisins and nuts in them. And they come in like a block and like squares.
Celeste.
Chunky bar.
Was that Celeste?
Celeste, is it a chunky bar? Yep, that's what she said. All right, you're eavesdropping. Come on in.
She's actively listening in the other room.
Come on in. I used to love the old gobstoppers. We would walk down in 7th grade in school. We were able to leave the school for lunch.
Yeah,
that was a big deal.
You know why I think the reason?
Well, you're off mic, but hold on. I'll tell this, and then I'll get your story. So we would walk down. You get a slice from the New York Pizzeria. 2 slices. They were 50 cents a piece, and gobstoppers. Love the gobstoppers. And they were big back then. You could kill yourself on
Gobstockers. I can't remember.
Stoppers, gobstoppers.
Gobstoppers.
Yeah.
So it's well in the Willy
many
Wonka.
many layers. It's got layers and colors and flavors till you get right down to the bottom, and you can still buy them today. They're Willy Wonka made. Today.
In the movie, though, it was almost like a star shaped. It had a very unique shape, and then it would supposedly you could you couldn't chew it. You could suck on it forever. It would never get smaller.
You definitely could not chew on the original gobstopper.
Yeah, I think the gobstoppers they have today are just a little circular piece of candy that you can.
Well, there's so many candies out there today. I mean, the little hearts that are cinnamon. I love those.
Those are good.
You'd eat
My
the daylights
theory
out of
about the
those.
Reese's is that they're really popular because we tell ourselves
Oh, stop
that
right
it's
there.
peanut butter.
Stop right there. You said Reese's. That's incorrect. And I don't mean to correct you, but I've spent 25 years of marriage with my wife telling me I'm wrong about Reese's versus Reese's. It's Reese's.
What did I say?
Reese's.
So it's Reese's.
Because you know why you say Reese's?
Potato.
Because I say Reese's Pieces. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. It'd be Reese's Pieces.
Right.
It is Reese's.
Reese's.
Yeah. That's
as opposed to Reese's.
Correct, yeah.
Reese's.
But I don't know why. There's a generation of people like myself who call it Reese's, and it's not. Anyway, go ahead. Your point.
Well, my theory is that they're so popular because they're peanut butter, and so we tell ourselves it's not really candy. It's a healthy snack.
And I will say
surrounded by a thin layer of chocolate. That's what we tell ourselves.
It's and you know what? The ratio, the Reese's peanut butter cup, the ratio of chocolate to peanut butter, and I'm watching this guy come up with Reese, his name was, came up with the concept, and he was trying to find the perfect combination, the perfect ratio, and there is a perfect ratio, and I'll tell you, you can even test it yourself. So when you get the ones at Easter time, and they'll all be out, those little Reese's cups, the little ones, they don't taste anything like a Reese's peanut butter cup. The chocolate seems different. The ratio between chocolate and peanut butter is different. I don't associate the two as the same. The Reese's peanut butter cup, though, has the perfect blend, that perfect ratio.
And do you remember the ads from when I was a child? The ads where somebody accidentally sticks their chocolate bar in it.
You got peanut butter in my chocolate.
Exactly. No, you got chocolate in my peanut butter.
Yeah.
I will say as
Two
well.
slobs sitting. They were working out there
with the little cups.
The little cups
versus the one that you might find in a vending machine. They're a little bit larger.
Right.
There's also a difference in color, right? I feel like the little cups are a darker chocolate.
I almost feel like it's completely different.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's more chocolate. The little foil covered cups.
Couple things to note. The big cup, which is almost like 2 Reese's peanut butter cups together, that's really good too. And then
a good healthy snack.
Every once in a while, you can go to a Stewart's and they'll have by the counter, and I can't help myself, the 1 pound Reese's peanut butter cup.
Oh, that's a lot of healthy snack.
Let me tell you,
that's a lot of healthy.
You need a knife to get through that, like a steak knife. It's not easy. Anyway, you can tell I'm off the carbs. That's all I'm thinking about is candy and sweets right now. Right. Good morning.
Good morning,
Celeste Friend. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, do you have a favorite candy?
I really like a Snickers bar.
I do too, yeah.
Snickers bar has got some nuts in it, and so it kind of feels a little bit more substantial.
And it satisfies you.
It does satisfy you.
Yeah.
You know what I love about the Snickers bar is the fact that their brand name of the Snickers, that font, those letters, is so ubiquitous and so recognizable that the little individual bites they make, all they have to put on is one letter, and we know that is
You're right.
Snickers.
You know what it is. That's a very good point.
You know, they really branded themselves well.
Okay, so I'd like you to pipe in on a fellow Democrat. I don't mean to drag you into this, but I mean, what are your thoughts on this residency thing? And because I got to say that it does seem cloudy, murky.
I think she lives there. I think that I think she lives where she says she lives. The county DA has investigated this to their satisfaction, issued a letter.
Here's what.
Issued a letter.
Well,
and
hold on. Jeff will.
When we talked to the district attorney on Friday, I believe, and essentially he said it was inconclusive.
Because I summarized and said, so Jeff, he's saying their conclusion is that she lives there, and Scott spoke up and said that is not what I said. Now I think he likes to disagree with a fellow attorney, like we go back and forth a little bit, but he specifically said that is not what I said. I said, we've not been able to prove that she doesn't live there. But he made that distinct point. I thought that was very interesting.
Right, although, which raises the question, though, of sort of where does the burden of proof lie? So if he can't prove that she doesn't live there...
Legally, I think that's everything's right. Everything is over.
What I also think is, so I have a relatively uncomplicated life. I don't have children. I don't have any ex-husbands. I don't share custody of anybody with anybody. I have one house that I've lived in for 20 years. So, if anybody sort of tried to show that, anybody looked into my residency, it'd be very cut and dry. Other people, lots of other people, have more complicated sort of residency. Mr. McNamara owns a home in Old Forge. Where does he live? Now, I'm not really questioning his residency, but, Katie has an ex-husband. She shares custody of her children with that ex-husband. But I believe that she has an apartment on Cottage Place and that is her primary residence.
But you have to have a primary
I believe that that's her primary residence. Right.
Okay. All right.
That is what I believe, yeah.
And what is your take on the fact that she was not endorsed?
It's hard to know what exactly was going on. Obviously, it's impossible to know what was going on in the minds of the first the first ward committee of the Democratic Party of Utica, and that's who voted on it, just her own committee, because it was a single ward race. And I don't know what they were thinking. I'd love to hear them answer to that.
Yeah.
She's an incumbent. She works extremely hard. She's one of the hardest working members of the council in her first term. She has worked hard to kind of learn how the whole system works, which is not easy. Take it from me. Sort of learning like which departments do you go to for which problems and how do you solve them. She works really hard. Her constituents really like her. She's a big presence in the first ward. She's doing a good job. She's an incumbent. And for them to choose to endorse instead somebody who registered to vote in May of 2022, did not then avail herself of the right to vote by voting in November of 2022, I think is really problematic. And I'd love to know what their reasoning is. And I can speculate. I'm not going to speculate. I could speculate, but I'm not going to speculate.
I'd love you to speculate. I'm trying to speculate myself. Like, she may have gotten something. Could it be the Complete Streets issue? Could it be that there's maybe a little bit of friction between her and the chairman? I mean, what's happening?
Right. I mean, I think you'd have to ask other people. I don't.
You wouldn't speculate as far as a bribe or anything like that. Oh, that stuff got out of control.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that Russ Pelly handing her money after he had asked her repeatedly to help him apply for funds for which he wasn't eligible in the first place, and then slipping her, really. I mean, I was about to correct myself, but no, slipping her an envelope with $500 in cash in it. I don't know if it's a bribe, but it certainly looks like a bribe. It looks like he was trying to bribe her, and maybe he wasn't. Again, that goes to people's intentions.
Well, he said he told her to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen.
Yeah.
Fishy, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and Russ, we should all make sure that everybody understands that Russ, Morella Pekmez is Russ Pelly's girlfriend. So, and Morella was also asking Katie to help her and Russ get money for their building on Bleecker Street,
but it is
as ARPA funds. So it's very, and then she comes in as is going to run against her. I mean,
does that to me though? That's not a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're like, for instance, you'll see someone run for the school board because they don't like the way something is being done or the way they were treated. That's it. I'm running. That's natural.
Right. The running part isn't surprising. It's that the city committee chose to endorse her.
That is interesting.
That's my problem. Yes, people are going to run against you. People are going to, get their mindset on the idea that you're not doing a good job and they could do a better job and they're going to run against you. That's the nature of the beast. That the city committee would choose to endorse such a person over a good, responsible, hardworking, popular Democratic incumbent is the weird part.
Okay. Well, I think
what if they don't? What if they think she doesn't live here?
Oh, I don't think that they think that. I don't think that they. Yeah, and if that was really if that's really their concern, then I'd like to hear that from them. Then they should have brought that up. Then they should bring that up. I mean, none of this process it has been in the least bit transparent, or even heck, it's not even translucent, right?
Well, but normally it isn't, right? Normally, but it is, and I will admit that normally they would endorse the incumbent.
Yeah.
Just out of a respect. There's kind of a respect there.
Obviously, this person's won the seat before. They can probably win it again, Joe Biden. But, I did find it interesting that they didn't back an incumbent.
Were you in the parade?
In the St. Patty's? Yes.
Yeah.
With a gazillion little kids. Cute
You had a lot of
kids.
people in your float, if you will.
Yes.
Everybody's got a float. I don't care if you're just walking. You're afloat.
Right. We were walking, so yeah.
But
we had a bunch of little children in purple capes. It
and
was
you
really
seem
fun.
to get a lot of response. Do you think you got better response than, say, your opponent?
I don't know. I didn't. I only heard later that he was in the in the parade, so I can't judge who got a better response. I know that we had a lot of people. A lot of adults, a lot of little kids, great big banner with my name on it, and we had a lot of fun. Parades are really fun. People enjoy them. People enjoy, going to them and watching them, and it's hard. That joy is kind of contagious.
Were you kicking back some Jello shots?
I was not. It's a little early in the morning for me.
Yeah. Never slowed me down, but it is early. I'll
but
agree
certainly,
with you.
I saw various stages of various kinds of drinking along the parade route. Absolutely.
Snookered by 10 a.m. Sometimes it's just it's the St. Patrick's Day parade. It's just
and
the way
you
it is.
knew that it was the St. Patrick's Day parade in Utica because it was snowing. So that kind of really nailed it. It's not St. Patty's Day
Very good
parade in
point.
Utica if it's not snowing.
The budget. What are your thoughts on the budget?
I think it's a good budget. I share the concerns with many members of the council that given that the fire union is still out of contract, that the fire department is not under contract, that we may be taking a big hit down the road, and that this budget is not really ready to accommodate that. Of course, that's a concern. We have been in surplus for several years in a row. I think that we're far less likely to be in surplus this year, given that, and maybe even in deficit. I hope not. I hope that this budget year doesn't end in deficit, but it's possible. Because we've had so many surpluses for so many years, we now have a really healthy general fund balance. We can absorb a deficit if we have to. That's not me being glib about it, but it won't break the bank. But I mean, in general, it's a slimmer budget. It's a leaner budget. There were a lot of things that were cut that I wasn't happy to see cut. A lot of positions that have remained funded but unfilled for a couple of years, and the mayor decided it was sort of finally time to unfund them. As somebody who hopes to be the next mayor, that gives me pause. Because those are positions that I would hope that we could fill. The city is very much understaffed, and that really hurts the services that we offer. So I worry about that. I did vote for it. I did propose one amendment, or sort of it came in the form of one amendment, which is that I made a very minor increase to the prediction of sales tax. In order to better fund contractual stormwater. So this is the money that we spend maintaining our stormwater system so that people's homes don't flood.
Yeah.
And he had really cut that back in a way that made me very nervous. So we've built that back up a little bit, and that amendment did pass, and I was pleased by that.
Okay.
After several years of surpluses, it almost sounds like maybe you have a concern that this budget is set up in a way that the streak of surpluses will come to an end once this mayor is gone. Do you think that's intentional?
I don't know if it's intentional, but I do think that having the general fund balance we have now is a very good thing. And you only get that general fund balance if you have surpluses. So was there some intention here? Perhaps. But do I want to go so far as to say that, they're intentionally setting it up so that there won't be another one? I don't know if I would go that far. But I do think, that we have underestimated sales tax year after year after year after year. The city is continuing to grow. I think it's reasonable to think that our sales tax will continue to outpace our predictions of it. So the new Mohawk Valley Garden development on Liberty and Oriskany is just one instance of something that is going to drive sales taxes up. All those construction workers coming in and getting lunch and buying their gas and all of that is going to generate sales tax.
I have to say that today is the finals of this big national tournament going on at Nexus. Over the weekend, it was the downtown was packed.
Right. Nexus is turning out to be a real boon for the city, and that generates sales tax.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually possible. I mean, if we really underestimated sales tax again this year, then that might be, and I'm not predicting that, but if that is how it turns out, then we will have some cushion there to absorb, the retro pay for the fire department.
I wanted to ask you about an area that I haven't heard much talk about, and it's an area that was really one of those that was recovering and building up before anything else happened, and that is the Varick Street area. There was a lot of development there. It doesn't seem. I know COVID has really been a gut punch to those business owners, but it looks pretty rough down there. A lot of vacancies and. Looks a little rough.
Well, and the city is in the middle of redesigning some of the streetscape down there. That the mayor is using some of the ARPA funds for that. So as part of that process, it's this sort of, it's like when you clean your house and it looks worse before it looks better. He took down a bunch of trees because they're going to replace them with better trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that that's the same choice I would have made. Cutting down trees is really although I think that they were diseased or whatever. So that makes it look worse before it gets better. So they are, but the city is investing making some major investments in that area, and hopefully that will continue to encourage.
If you're mayor, what area do you feel needs attention that's not getting attention?
So I think that there are sort of three areas. We're already putting some investments into Varick Street. I'd like to see some investment on the stretch of Whitesboro that goes from the Yorkville line at least up to Court Street. So there's a whole stretch there of Whitesboro Street. It's rough over there.
Yeah.
And there are some very simple things we can do without even a lot of money that can help to improve that area. So that's one place I'd like to look at. Another is James Street. So James Street is it's
lost a lot of its. I mean, the greatest business in the world is over there still, and doing things not just here but around the country. And that's Just Neon.
Mm-hmm.
He is amazing. Look at that clock. Isn't it beautiful?
It is. And he's world renowned.
World
renowned. Yeah, it's wonderful.
One of the few who does this in the country.
Yeah.
But James Street used to be a really nice business section.
Right. So I think that we should make some investments in exteriors on James Street. And there's an easy way to do that with CDBG funding. And that's exactly what CDBG funding is intended to do. So there's a stretch of James Street. I don't know exactly. Some of James is residential. Some of it is not. So we'd have to sort of pinpoint.
The further down to Mohawk you go, the better it obviously gets.
Yeah.
But that stretch from Genesee down has decayed quite a lot.
So I'd like to put some money in there. And I'd also think that the Uptown area, we've put money into the Uptown itself. They got some ARPA funds. They got a large Main Street grant from New York State. But we need to put some more. We need to make some investments in the area sort of surrounding the Uptown Theater. So the Uptown area, that stretch of Whitestown and that stretch of James Street are areas I would like to concentrate on.
When you talk about Whitesboro Street, are you talking an enhancement or improvement like a sweep, or are you talking, storefronts and awnings and
I'm
stuff
talking
like that?
storefronts and awnings. So I'd like to create a business development fund whereby private property owners of commercial spaces can apply to the city for small grants for awnings, windows, siding,
that
signage.
plays such a huge role in people being willing to shop there.
Curb appeal, curb appeal. Absolutely.
Wayne, you have
and
a
it's cheap.
Wayne, you're on. You have a question for Celeste.
Couple things. I see they're doing things with Proctor Park, but are they ever going to redo the main part on Rutger, the whole the circle there, the track? And are they ever going to do anything to resurface it or take care of what it looks like? And down in where you walk down in, are they ever going to do anything with the way that looks? And how about Murnane Field? Are they ever going to give it the attention it needs?
Well, Murnane Field belongs to the county, so
regardless, are they ever going to do anything with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Murnane Field is in South Utica, so I'm pretty familiar with it. Murnane Field is well used by baseball in the summer by those college
it's
college
far
leagues.
improved from where
I'll be calling balls and strikes there this summer.
Oh, yeah, it looks a lot better than 1977, but it still doesn't look as good as some of the places.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is a county facility.
Duluth in Rome is a good comparison. I mean,
Right.
Duluth is beautiful.
The city has just announced they're making a major investment in Chancellor Park and redesigning Chancellor Park to make it improve it, improve its usability, et cetera, in terms of infrastructure and things like that.
And Wayne, what was it on Rutger?
Yeah, where on Rutger?
Proctor Park in general, how you go into the main part, what I call the main part, when you used to be able to park there, they're just building a pavilion there, and they got it a wreck. And it's usually everybody walks. Of course, they walk their dogs and let their dogs go to the bathroom, and nobody's got no kind of a law saying that they can't, that they have to pick their dog mess up. So, but that whole circle where everybody walks, there's not another circle in the park. Right off of Rutger, and I don't even know the name of the side street there, but it's Rutger and Culver.
Yeah, Culver.
Yeah.
Well, we are building back sort of behind Proctor Park a really state-of-the-art dog park, and I think that's going to where people can take their dogs off leash. I think that's going to draw a lot of the dog walkers, which will get them out of Proctor, where, as you point out,
put
they're
signs up where they got to pick up their dog mess.
In the dog park, I believe they will still have to. Yes. But the dog park will be used just by dogs and dog owners. It'll kind of separate them out.
I do love that.
All right,
park.
and do you have anything to do with like potholes and when these potholes are going to be addressed?
So winter is only just over. So we're just coming into the season where we can
jinx
start.
us. What are you doing? Oh, my God. He did
Well,
it.
officially it is
She
spring.
did it. Oh,
She
my
didn't say
Lord.
we'll never see snow again. She said the season has ended, and she's correct.
All right, I'll back
And
down.
so what that means is that we can't fix potholes until we get into a certain kind of weather, and we're headed in that direction. Bill,
That is true.
be happy.
That I will
that
agree
the weather
with.
is
Yeah.
coming.
All right.
I've got one more, and I saved
right.
it for last.
Wayne, thank you, man.
This
Thanks,
is
guys.
from Lance and Lee, a big critic of you at times. But as he says here, and he said before, here's a question for Celeste. Surprisingly, my mayoral choice. As a Utica taxpayer, yeah, he's come around here.
Nice.
As a Utica taxpayer, I'd like to know if she really plans on researching the UFD ambulance service. My belief is for years it has cost the taxpayers way too much and should go back to being privatized. The UFD union reps like to use scare tactics, he says, that people will die if they change. Rome has always been private, and last time I checked, it works well out there. AmCare does an awesome job and responds quickly.
Yeah, I think that things like that are always worth looking at, and to do a sort of thoroughgoing audit of that city service. I mean, look, I believe in audits, now, audits aren't cheap. You have to pay for them. So we don't want to get sort of out of hand with auditing things. But absolutely, I think that deserves being looked at. I think if the private sector can do just as good a job as the government can do, that's when government should stay out of things. Government steps in to do the things that the private sector can't do on its own. That's my sort of general view towards the relationship between government and the private sector, the marketplace. There are plenty of things that the marketplace does perfectly well, and the government should stay out of it.
What kind of Democrat have you become?
I know.
Celeste, one follow-up to that.
Non-socialist. I'm the non-socialist kind
I
of Democrat.
find the Lance coming around very interesting.
Me too.
Yeah.
Is Lance a registered Democrat?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know much about him. I know.
So as everybody is clear, for the first this is a two-stage election, and the first thing I need is for a majority of Democrats. Of the majority of the Democrats who turn out to vote.
Did you hurt your neck? I just noticed you have something on your neck.
It's a scarf.
Oh,
What's
I
about
thought you had a turner or a what do they call that around your neck? A brace around your neck.
Fine.
It was up there tight. I'm like, oh my God, she fell.
No. Oh my
right.
goodness, knock on plastic.
What I find though, coming on, you have been able. There have been a lot of. This has been my assessment of the mayoral campaign here in Utica. Is that the one person that had the most buzz, I felt, and I think, Jeff, we agree on this, has been you. And
it's not from Jell-O shots.
And we have heard, all we kept hearing was, oh, Celeste, she's crazy.
Progressive. What do you hear her ideas?
It is.
She's out
She's
there.
ready to defund the police. She's going to get rid of the. And I think your decision to come on the air and make yourself available. Not everybody has done that. There have been those that have, but I think making yourself available has allowed people like Lance to be able to say, what I was told doesn't seem to be true, and make you I think you're a real contender in this race.
Well, thank you. One of the things that we'll be doing, because, again, warm weather is coming, Bill. Hold on.
It is. Just don't jinx it.
Right. So when the warm weather comes, one of the things that we're looking into doing is I have a big front porch. I'm, one of those beautiful Utica houses with a big front porch, and I'm going to try to set up sort of an hour or 2 hours every week at the very same time when anybody can drop by and talk to me in person.
Okay.
I make a mean iced tea, and so iced tea will be in the fridge all the time, and comfortable chairs, and just I would, Lance, I'd love it if you stopped by the house once we get that going. Keep an ear to the ground for that, and if anybody wants to stop by, including my critics, if I'm going to be the mayor of Utica, New York, you have to be able to talk to your critics and talk to the people who disagree with you.
One follow-up on the audit. Couldn't the comptroller's office do that? You
Yes,
said it
they
would
could.
cost additional money.
They could. The controller's office they are both a controller and auditor. At least in principle, have those two functions built into
You
that
would maybe
office.
go outside of that office? Why would it cost more money, I guess?
It would only cost more money if you decided to do an independent audit.
Okay.
So, which, by the way, we already do. As a city, we are required by state law to be audited on an annual basis. So, Bonadio comes in once a year and does a thoroughgoing audit of our finances and publishes an audit of our finances.
Right.
That's required by law. So, we are already doing that regularly.
And then a bow to put on the segment, if I may. Chad Davis, a county legislator. The County Board of Legislators has just approved $56,000 for improvements to Murnane Field, including improvements to the concession stand. He heard us talking about it, so thank you,
Good
Chad.
morning,
Appreciate
Chad.
the info.
Good morning. Chad and I are going to be sharing constituents now. Chad is they redrew the county ledge lines, and he's got 3-2, I believe. So
All
good
I can
morning,
say
Chad.
is the Murnane that exists there today, and while I'm sure it can use more improvements, what used to be there and what the old Utica Blue Sox had to play with was really rough. And good improvements. So
And
it
it's really
sounds like more
always-
money going into it.
It's always delightful when I to drive by Murnane in the summertime
action, yeah.
and see the action and
Yeah.
see the lights and see people out on the field. I still have to get back to that. I'm going to invite Stephen King to come and watch baseball with
That's cool. Thank you, Celeste.
You're welcome, Bill.
We're going to
Thank
talk
you,
about
Jeff.
that tournament going on downtown at the Nexus Center coming right up. Quick break, 8:51 at WIBX.
Hi, I'm Max Carbone, sales manager at Power Sports Utica. We are currently overstocked on 2023 Ski-Doo models, and we are offering up to $2,000 off sticker plus a $500 gift card for anything in the store. Kawasaki KLR models have $1,000 in rebates as well, and we have all colors and trims available in stock and ready for delivery. Kawasaki KLX models have $400 in rebate and up to $1,500 off KX models. Come visit us at Power Sports Utica, Central New York's Four Seasons Toy Store.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554 all zeros. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York 12203.
Refresh and renew your home this spring with Little Falls Lumber. They're fully stocked with secondary grade metal in all colors and 12-foot lengths. An affordable option for fixing utility sheds, roofs, or garages. Looking for lumber and tired of the warped pieces from the big box stores? Then go to Little Falls Lumber, where they stock only premium grade lumber. Stop in to one of their 3 convenient locations: Little Falls, Syracuse, and Schenectady. Little Falls Lumber, helping you refresh and renew this spring. Call 315-823-2470 or visit littlefallslumber.com.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Hey, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is accepting new patients right now. If you need a new family doctor, Maybe you're having sleep issues, which is something that I've been dealing with for several years. And I'm currently seeing Dr. Shemaleski and Dr. Zielinski at the Falcon Clinic, and they're working on me. I am a work in progress. So they say. Accepting new patients right now, you don't need a referral from your primary care physician. It's the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. Accepting new patients right now. Maybe you're having problems with sleep, fatigue, pain, ADHD, other health issues, including, have you been tested for hepatitis C? It's prevalent in baby boomers and is 100% curable, 100% curable. Dr. Shemaleski is Hep C certified. If you haven't been tested, you probably should be. Call today, 315-507-4751. If you're having pain, take the osteopathic approach to your pain. I know of one business owner who has done just that. She was ready to leave her business and actually retire because she just couldn't get rid of the pain. And she says she owes all of her business to Falcon Clinic. Not so much that she'd give it away, but appreciates what was done for her at the Falcon Clinic with Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski, and other physicians at the Falcon Clinic. Online, falconclinic.com, 315-507-4751.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, today is what a weekend of action at the Adirondack Bank Center and at the Nexus Center. It was so cool as I was driving up, crossing Oriskany Boulevard, to see everybody standing around watching hockey inside the Nexus Center. You could see it was jam-packed. There was a hustle and bustle, and that's continued right up until today. The finals of this tournament are going on today.
When you said you saw everybody standing around, I thought you'd been watching a Major League Baseball game, but apparently that'll be
standing around.
But good morning to Nicole Kelly, and she's got some details on what's going on there today. And Nicole, I want to apologize. We pay Bill to talk, but sometimes he won't stop talking, so we got pushed back a little bit.
My apologies.
No, that's okay. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. It's been a very, very exciting 6 days. The USPHL National Tournament here in Utica. We started out with 26 junior hockey teams, and today we're down to the national championship game at 1 o'clock with our final 2 teams. So it's been outstanding.
Let's talk about how big this tournament is. It is a national championship tournament. This is a big deal.
It really is a big deal. It's such an honor for our city and for the Utica University Nexus Center to host an event like this. We've had teams from all over the country. Our final 2 teams, one is the Northern Cyclones from New Hampshire. They defeated the Florida Eels last night. And then we've got the...
You're doing what I do. See, I talk, and then all of a sudden,
the Charlotte Rush, who won against Richmond last night. So it's been very exciting. A lot of people don't know what junior hockey is, but what this is, these guys are playing. They're 18 to 20-year-old young men, and this is what they do before they end up at places like Utica University. So Utica University players such as John Gutt and Buster Larson, they all played in this league called the USPHL, which is the largest junior league in the country. So it's a great brand of hockey. These kids are hungry. They're trying to earn their spots in college, which is the next step for them.
Let's talk about what it meant this weekend. Obviously, inside the Nexus Center, you had activity, and the beauty is if you're driving by, you can look in the windows and you can just see all the activity going on. It was hustling and bustling. And then the hotels were packed, restaurants were packed. This was a good weekend for commerce.
Absolutely it was. And each one of these 26 teams has a travel party of about 35 players and staff members. They also, a lot of parents and supporters come in. So just the participants, we had 1,000 people, plus all the people who come with them to travel. And they've been here. They started arriving on Tuesday, so it's been a full week.
Yeah, think about that. Wow.
That's incredible. And you and everybody over there you're looking for people to go enjoy the game, right? I mean, obviously this is a high level of hockey. It's a 1:00 start, but the hope is to fill up that Nexus Center with some locals, because a lot of the teams that have been ousted from the tournament, if you will, they've already gone back home.
That's right. I'm really just trying to garner support for this last game. It's so important to pack this and show the players who this is such an important day for them. Just the support of Utica rallying around them. We've had so many people from the community stop by and check out the event over the last 5 days, and they've come back. So there's no fee for admission. We just really want to pack the Utica University Nexus.
And it's 1:00 today at Nexus.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You'll see the Northern Cyclones take on the Charlotte Rush.
All right, Nicole, thank you for your time, and it's exciting to see that area all coming to fruition here. It's pretty exciting.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Listen, we're back here tomorrow morning. Enjoy your day. Kilmeade is next after news.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Tears and prayers in Nashville. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's a candlelight vigil. Hours after the shooting at a Christian elementary school that left 3 9-year-old students, the headmaster and 2 staffers dead.
Police say the shooter drove to the school and used 3 weapons to shoot the victims and to open